Jesus Christ, you people suck. Wow. Wolverine wanted
Back in the days when we played video games, it was hardcore for the nerdy and lazy. Now things have changed and all our video games are also for the casual and lady. But that's okay, you know the score. We told you a million times before. Playing consoles, not just games, is in the past. And every week you listen to the best damn internet radio crew. It's the N4G podcast. It's the N4G podcast.
All right, it's time. Another week of N4G Radio. This is episode, I just had it, 714 for September 12th, 2022. And on the show this week, we have Anthony.
Hello.
We have Terrence.
Hello.
And we got the Wombat.
I am here as well.
Yeah, welcome to your first record your own audio podcast.
All right, we'll see how this goes. You all may end up sounding like you're talking to a ghost because my audio may just suddenly not exist anymore.
I know, right? Like the whole time last week when we were recording, and boy, of course, our inaugural record your own audio episode was 2 hours and like 45 minutes.
Of course.
Like, I'm sitting there the whole time like, what if somebody's audio stops working and this fucking thing whole implodes?
Yep. Well, and my computer's behind me too, so I'm not actively looking at it at any given time. So
My anxiety will not allow me to do that. Like, I have to have my Audacity in my face, and I have to see my audio levels. I have to. Anyway, so we're going to talk about some video games. It's crazy. It's the crazy, silly season. Today is the first Sunday NFL football day, so I'm super stoked. It feels like it's time, that time of year. So we're going to talk about video games. I'll kick it off with Anthony, even though he had mic problems.
I've only played Tinykin. Moving on.
Dude.
That's a good game,
Tinykin
though.
is fucking awesome.
It's gonna be on the list.
Oh, yeah, I started my list. Like, I always start it probably around September. And Tinykin was like one of the first things I put on there.
I really enjoy that game. It's one of the best 3D platformers in years. And everything about it is adorable, and I kind of love it. I love that the silverfish are all high.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about that game is like how the societies have broken up.
The dung beetles are all sort of timid and super friendly, and I love them. They're one of my favorite designs. I do love the shield bugs and how their expression, like the expression on their chest is how they're feeling, but it's not their face.
Like the Sneeches?
The Sneeches?
You don't remember the Dr. Seuss story?
No.
There were the two
I don't even
Sneeches.
know that. I don't even know that story, to be honest with you. That's the reason why I asked. I've never read that book.
Oh, sorry, that's not their emotion. That was like one of them had stars and one of them didn't. Never mind. I'm thinking of the Care Bears.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't there a show about animals wearing T-shirts?
Oh, Shirt
when we were
Tales.
kids. Yeah, Shirt Tales. That's right.
Don't know
Yeah,
that
like-
show. I'm assuming that's a newer show.
Shirt
Shirt
Tales?
Tales?
No.
No, Shirt Tales was when we were kids.
Yeah.
Oh, then it's
Like-
older than me. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, like early to mid 80s probably.
All right. Well, yeah, this game, because I don't know if we talked about it. I don't know if I talked about it, but I guess that's the more specific thing. I was going in expecting Pikmin, and what it really is a 3D platformer where you have Pikmin-like characters, the Tinykin, who all do different things. Some of them lift, some of them explode, some of them turn into ramps, and the best ones turn into ladders. And then the other one, because there's only 5 types, are you use as like a daisy chain to hook electricity through. But the latter
Yeah.
ones are the best because the more you get, the platforming becomes easier, and you have this glide mechanic. But everything is charming, and there's no combat, which was a worry of mine because I just expected it to go there at some point after being really kind of peaceful. All the conflict is just sort of resolved, like by doing certain tasks rather than like fighting stuff. It's just this really adorable game that like I'm surprised I didn't really know about beforehand. Like, I feel like this is a game that would have been like really popular on first showing, and I would have seen it in the indie community for, years, but no, it's like just kind of came out and it's on Game Pass, right?
Yeah, it's on Game Pass. I feel like, not to be dismissive, if this was a Nintendo game, nobody would question it. Like, that's how good and how polished it feels, and the art style just kind of fits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And the music, oh my god, the
music's
so
fantastic.
good.
Like, everything about this game is great. Like, I have not had really any issues. I've been going around trying to 100% everything. The achievements are neat. Like, some of them are really like, oh, that's a really neat achievement to get. Like, one of them was like saving myself with a bubble from right before I hit the ground. The death sequences are cute, but not like, punishing at all. They just restart you back somewhere safe.
Yeah, there's no penalty for dying in that game, thankfully.
Yeah, and what's really neat is like, you are a small person in a normal-sized world. So like, you are miniature and you're going through different rooms of a house, and the scale, like the how small you are, like on top, you're sliding across like these spider webs, and you're going across an entire kitchen, and it's so cool how the each level sort of opens up the further you explore. And then there's just some really neat, like, little activities that you do in each, like putting up posters, and they're just post-it notes. Like, I appreciate the regular-sized world, small person thing. I liked in Clockwork Knight, and that didn't even really explore it, really. But, I've always liked that aspect of video games, and we should see that more often, to be honest. But yeah, this is such a wonderful little game. That's what I've been pouring my time into. Very few times I've been home this week. So that's I played that Penguin game we talked about last week. It's fine.
Penguin!
I don't remember what it's called. It's, I'm just typing in Penguin Switch game, and I don't remember what it was called.
I don't remember. What was where did I see that? Oh, it was Jay. Well, we were chatting in Discord, and like we were just like talking about games we were playing or review codes that came in, and Jay's like, I've never heard of all of these games.
Yeah.
Just like, dude, there are so many freaking video games. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's too much. We need that monoculture back.
I
Where
felt
we can all
this
be excited about a game rather than all just being like, I fucking can't play another game right now.
Yeah,
We had that with Elden Ring earlier in the year.
Yeah, that was the zeitgeist game this year, was definitely Elden Ring, and I feel like God of War will probably be that again. But you're right, like everything, like I get stumped. Like when I go to play a game, I'm like, I have 300 games installed. What the fuck am I gonna play? And it's the same thing when I go to watch TV. I'm like, I've got 25 streaming services. What am I gonna watch?
I'm so happy that that's not just me, because I sit down in front of my Xbox all the time and I'm like going over the game. I'm like, what am I going to play? Like, there's so much stuff. Like, I don't even know. And it's the same thing with the TV shows.
That's the benefit of only playing one thing at a time.
That's true.
I truly need to do that, and unfortunately,
I can't.
And you know what makes it worse is like I did that this weekend. I sat down. I was like, you know what? I'm going to finish up Saints Row. So I booted up Saints Row. I did a mission where I was supposed to steal a food truck, and I get to the food truck, and I can't get in the food truck because the game is glitched. So I'm like, well, fuck this game. I'll go play some. And immediately I'm like, well, I got 10 other things I can play, so I just quit it and go play something else. So
Man, that Saints Row game,
Listen,
that's it for Volition, isn't it?
I really think it is, because that is so typical. That was basically, I had that experience all the time. Like, I reset, like, probably after every 4 missions or something. Like, God dang it, that game is just, it's a shame. It's a shame.
it is a shame, because, like, it's like the missions aren't even that great, and when they glitch out and you can't finish them, it's just like, dude, why am I even wasting my time?
Right.
Anyway, is that it? Anything?
That's
You have anything
literally
else?
it. No, I've been busy all week.
Okay. So I'll move on to Terrence. What do you got?
So, I've been playing a couple of things for review. So, Tim, which is, so it's labeled as an MMO, but it's essentially Pokemon. So it's a creature collecting game. They do a lot of things that are different and in some ways better than Pokemon. For one, the battles are like 2v2, I guess. So at any time when you go into a fight, you'll have out 2 of your Tim monsters, which is nice. And it kind of adds another layer of strategy, because each of the Tims have traits, and each species has 2 different traits that you can find. And those traits will work together with other types of Tim. For instance, there's an electric type that has a chain electricity attack that will go around and it'll end up hitting, one of your monsters. Well, there's a trait that one of the starters, the Crystal, I think it's Crystal, has where it doesn't take damage from electric attacks. So you can use that powerful attack, and once it gets to him, he won't actually get hit with it. It'll just hit the enemies. So it has a lot more strategic options, I think, than Pokemon offers. And it's a little bit more hard than Pokemon, because playing those games, I don't ever use the like tail swipe or the thing that makes them blind or any of those little type of stuff. I just attack, various attacks, whatever. You cannot do that in Tim. You have to use those statuses and different things and to kind of play out those battles, which is kind of nice. It's online, so I mean, when you're running around, you see, a bunch of other people running around with their little monster following behind them. But the reason I say I'm not sure why they're using the MMO tag is because I guess the developers said that they're not planning any more like major content. So what the game is now is what it's going to be, outside of them adding, like they said they're not going to add any more monsters or anything, but there'll be like events and stuff like that. But there won't be like expansions or different islands, because the world is, broken up in these different islands, but there won't be other areas or anything like that. And I'm like, that's kind of what MMO is that it's supposed to go on forever. Y'all just basically made Pokemon online, but it's neither here nor there. I'll have a review for it too. I like it. I mean, it's cool. I don't think it's a real MMO outside of it just being a bunch of people on there.
Yeah, that's weird, because one of the conversation that always crops up about this game is like, can I play it by myself? Because it is labeled as an MMO, and I think people don't necessarily want to play Pokemon as an MMO.
Right. And yeah, because I saw people asking that on Twitter. And yeah, you totally can play it by yourself. Like I haven't made a friend in there. I'm not in a club, because you can join clubs, which I guess is like a guild kind of thing. They do have competitive battles. Like you can have friendly and competitive battles and stuff with people, which is nice. But like it just, I don't know. It doesn't really feel like an MMO, but I'm digging it for what it is. So that's cool. The other thing that I'm playing for review is NBA 2K23. Man, that game looks good. Beautiful game. Like the player likenesses and stuff is just crazy. And then this year is the Jordan edition. So they have where you can play 15 of Jordan's different historical moments in games, or you can play out the game. Like even starts with his college game, and they have a filter for the visuals that will emulate what it looked like watching it on broadcast TV back in the day on like a standard definition. And
Did it show you where he goes to baseball and doesn't really succeed in baseball? That should be one of the moments. It just changes the mechanics. You're now playing a baseball game. It's not as appealing.
That actually would be kind of funny, but no, they omit that. You don't have to go to the baseball bit.
Man, you should totally have to play baseball.
That'd
be awesome.
Press X to yell at your teammates.
Right, the true Jordan experience. But it is a really good game. I mean, I haven't played a 2K like for real in a couple of years. Like I played some games with my son over the past couple of years ones, but actually going through this one, it's really well done. And I think the era franchise mode is probably my favorite. Because in that it's like the normal franchise, but now you have like all of the players across, the entirety of the history of the NBA. So, I mean, if you want Kobe to be with, Dr. J, you can do that. Like, you can build, like, it's all these different players, and I like the franchise mode. What I don't like is the My Team, because I'm pretty sure the only way you can be successful in that is if you spend a bunch of money and buy V-Bucks, which I assume is the point. Yeah, So, which is funny.
Yep, that my team card bullshit has been there for a couple years, and it's always just completely lackluster and my least favorite part of the game.
Yep, that's where I'm at. Like, I've played it. I think I've played like 2 matches in it. I'm not a fan. Like, I don't see, like, I like how it's a whole different, like, it's a whole completely, like, game mode in and of itself. Like, you can play with other people. It has different game mode types and stuff, like different basketball game types. I mean, that's cool, but yet the fact that you have to spend so much money in order to have a decent team and be successful is nah. I like card games, as we know, but nah, I'm cool on this. But outside of that, I'm actually really digging it. It's really good.
You get that hard drive space.
Well, and it was it was that. That's actually, I was about to say that because talking to Ryan here, I'm playing some of the older stuff that I have on here. So I reinstalled Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which was also 100 and something gigabytes.
Oh shit, yeah, that's 100 and some gigs, yeah, for sure.
I'm like, every game why is that the new number? Like, everything is 100 gigs. God. But yeah, so I'm playing some Valhalla. That's a good game. I playing some Circus Electrique, which I won't go into too much because I know Drew talked about it last week, but I like that way more than I liked Darkest Dungeon. Like, I like this Circus one a lot. There was something else I played. What was the other thing?
We didn't talk about Steel Rising yet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Steel Rising. I actually did play that last night. That is a really good game. So I did the review for that. That's what I was kind of, we couldn't talk about it last week, but and I put this in the review, the assist mode, I think, and from what I've kind of been looking at on Twitter, I think it actually is working. Like, it's bringing a lot of people to this Soulsborne game that I don't think otherwise would have. Which is nice because they're doing so much in this game that From Software and all the other ones that make those type of games refuse to do. But you can pause the game, in combat. If you need a minute, you can. There's health potions via the little oil thing that, like, it's like a freaking common drop. Like, you can pop those while you're fighting. It does a lot of stuff, but not to mention, like, graphically it looks good. The story is really good, but I think this is probably Spider's best game, which I feel like I say that every time I play their games because I'm a fan of theirs. But this, like, the level of polish and stuff that they have on this, like, there is some janky stuff that happens, but that's to be expected in their games. But Steel Rising is legit, and it's a budget
keep getting
title.
better.
Yeah, they do.
They keep getting better and better. Like, it's because. Hold on, I typed in spiders, and then I realized that was just going to give me pictures of spiders.
You didn't do an image search, did you?
No.
That'd be bad.
That'd be horrifying.
Of spiders? It would just be pictures of spiders. Like I said, Google was like, you look for spiders? Guess what? Here's all the information on spiders. Like, going through, I don't remember some of these. They did one of the Sherlock Holmes games, which is funny because I love Frogwares, who did all the other Sherlock Holmes games. Mm-hmm. They did a game called Grey Matter, which is a point-and-click game. And then they did Fairy Legends of Avalon.
That game is not good.
Right.
This
is where they start getting into their action-adventure. They did Of Orcs and Men, which is an okay game. Game.
Yeah.
Then they did The Testament of Sherlock Holmes. This must have been a port. Yeah, they ported it to the consoles. That's what they've done. Because Frogwares, I think, developed the other one, now that I think about it. And yeah, so anyways. Then they did Mars Warlogs. And then
I
they
like
did,
that game.
I like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then they did Bound by Flame, a better game.
Yep.
I
I like that.
love that game.
That was good.
Then they did the Technomancer, arguably
Yeah.
a better game.
Yeah,
Tech-
yeah, arguably.
Right. And then they did Greedfall, which is a better game. And then
Which is an awesome
Steel,
game.
Greedfall is
Then they do
awesome.
Steel Rising, and it's like, you know, it's just one of these, like, you can see them get better with every
Yeah.
step.
I
Which
think
is-
I put
which
that's
is
what-
great
that's what it should
because-
be. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, which is great, because that means the next Greedfall is going to be even better.
Yeah, Greedfall 2.
Yeah, that's their next game, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Greedfall 2.
Oh shoot! I just saw that. That's awesome. Yeah, because Greedfall was. I
Yep.
didn't know they were going to sequel. That's sweet. Okay, 2024 too. Probably won't make it, but that's fine.
Yeah, it's funny that Steel Rising is as good as it is, considering that I believe on this show we were told that a Souls game is only good because of its difficulty.
Yep.
And in Steel Rising, you can literally make yourself God.
I'm sorry.
You cannot die.
The only thing that exists about Souls games is that they're difficult. It has nothing
Yeah.
to do with the lore or the art design or the world design or, like, you know, all the mechanics. No, none of that. It's just that it's difficult.
Dude, that's the whole reason I wanted to play Steel Rising, because it's a frickin' French Revolution automaton robot lady.
Yeah, that's what drew me was the
Just
alt history kind of thing.
just accurate beyond a fault.
Dude, I love it. I love that this game, like, I hope that this shows that you can do that and it's okay, and that the game's whatever, you know, integrity isn't broken because you can make it easier.
Yep. I would play more
Well,
Souls games if they do this.
Well, the thing is, though, even keeping the integrity of the game doesn't stop the community that you're talking about from complaining about it, because I beat Elden Ring and then came to find out afterwards that according to some people in the community, I didn't actually beat it because I used Spirit Ashes, which is a mechanic within the game.
Is that the
And
one where you
because of
summon
the-
guys?
Yes, and because of the specific weapon that I used was too broke and cheap. So,
What you use?
Rivers of Blood.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was told that I wasn't playing it, that I didn't, because I was using magic. I used the Sword of Night and Flame.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was using the
yeah.
magic stuff, like, and they were like, no, that's not the true way of doing it. I'm like, what?
The gatekeeping is a way of life in that community. So it doesn't even matter if they don't add the quality of life features that you're talking about. People within that community will find a way to say that people aren't beating the game the right way anyway.
I'm going to say something, and I've said it before, but I'm going to be meaner this time. If you're only, like, success in life is that you've beat Dark Souls or just hard video games, and then you have to go and criticize how other people beat those games, you're a loser. There's no question about it. You suck as a human being. I am not mincing words anymore. You're a loser. Touch grass. Go outside. Meet
Touch
people.
grass.
Tell them when people are like, oh, what do? You can tell you like, well, I beat Dark Souls and I beat a bunch of hard video games, and they're all gonna look at you like, and? Who gives a
Maidenless.
shit?
Maidenless.
Because
on
you're a
your resume.
loser. And I'm not trying
Put it
to
on
be
your resume, motherfucker.
and I'm not saying that, like, listen, I'm not saying you can't be proud of yourself for being a hard video game. That is not what I'm saying at all. But if that's your only thing, if that's where you like, oh, you didn't beat it right.
Well,
I'm sorry.
and what's funny about
like, let me check this multiplayer game. Oh, that's right, it's single player. Get fucked.
it actually is multiplayer, but
You know what I mean, though. It's not a massively multiplayer game. You don't have to engage with that shit.
Right.
If you don't have to. Don't want to.
What's funny about the Rivers of Blood stuff and the Mimic tier Spirit Ash stuff is that those were not easy to get to and or find and or collect, because to get Rivers of Blood you have to beat somebody that's using it, and the Mimic tier is in a relatively difficult area. I mean, when I say difficult, I mean it's got to be like, you got to be a somewhat high level. You're not getting either one of those until you're probably 75% of the way through the game anyway.
And is the Mimic tier in a Mimic?
No, it's not.
Oh, that's
you fight
disappointing.
like a so there's a whole series of enemies in the game that look like lumps of mercury, and they can turn into like people who look like characters. And so you fight one that looks like you, and then when you beat it, you unlock that as a summon, where you can summon basically a copy of yourself.
All right, I still accept that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I don't like that
that's how
shit.
My son beat it though. Yeah, I don't either. But yeah, that's the same way you did Ryan, the same way Brendan did.
It's just, to me, it's like, if you beat Contra by, like, cheating, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand when that became the thing. You're only cheating yourself, you didn't do it. It's a video game. It's literally supposed to be fun.
Right.
If a game's not fun, it's failing. Congratulations. Thanks for coming out. I just don't
Dude, video games are not fun anymore, don't you? Just,
if you're working it like a job, you've defeated the point. Thank you. Sorry, I try not to be, but it's like, this is such an infuriating group of people. And it's not all of them. Like, most of the people
it's
who
a
play
minority
those games
of that community.
Yeah, and they're loud. And they're loud. But it's like, I don't see people taking them to task enough. And just calling them like a loser. Yeah, that's the same sort of thing. But it's like, you're losers. If you're fighting over plastic boxes, you're losers. Like, this is video games. Like, we're allowed to have opinions. You're allowed to be wrong. You're allowed to be right. Who gives a shit? Really. It's opinions at the end of the day about fucking video games. And I realize that's ironic coming from a video game podcast, especially from myself. But it's just, I don't know, like, we joke about stuff, but like, if you like Shenmue, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't ruin my day. I'm more upset that I feel like the creator of that series fleeced a bunch of people for nothing. But it's like, you know, at the end of the day, I don't give a shit. It's like your time. If you enjoy it, go right ahead. But then these people come out and they're like, I need to fight everyone about how they've besmirched the Souls games. And
my concern is just the fact that the quality of life improvements that do exist in Elden Ring are going to get, I hope this won't happen based on the success of that game, but my fear is always that those are going to get wiped out for the next game because they want to please that subset of the community. And so my hope is that the fact that this one sold so much with all those improvements will make them keep those.
It's like Smash Brothers, and I'm not trying to, like, I mean, there's other reasons why you can criticize the Smash community, but it's like, that game is so far from what it was at this point. Like, they still have a bunch of stuff, but like, they clearly went into the balancing and trying to make this a legit fighting game. And it's like, if you're playing without items, I feel like you've missed the fucking point of that game. Because it's a mechanic. And it's like, well, I can turn it off. Right, but it's on by default. So by turning it off, it's like, oh, well, you know, like, if we're gonna have fights about, like, the games and how, like, the creator's vision, well, that's how that game was created. And it's like, it's always these little groups that get like, oh, well, you know, we're gonna lean into this, and it's like, well, just remove the, you know, casual market from that, I suppose, but it just doesn't make sense to me. And with Dark Souls, it's always different because everybody talks about how you need to play it. Oh, it's the greatest game of all time.
I'm all about
play it right.
I'm all about giving people as many different ways to play a game as you can.
Me too. It's just I don't like when we start catering to like the hardest of hardcore people, because like that's how you end up with niche genres, and you want this game to sell and continue and have the same budget. But then, you know, Elden Ring sold really well, so what the fuck do I know? I guess
these are the dudes that got mad. And this is aging myself, but these are the dudes that got mad in high school when everybody started liking Nirvana after he died. These are the same dudes. Like, who cares?
It's weird. I don't know. Maybe someone can explain it to me. I just don't get it, because I don't think I think that way. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone will be like, listen to this clip from this podcast, and I'll be like, alright, well, that was past me, and past me was a different person.
Hey, you're just like spiders, Anthony. You just get better.
That's incorrect. Oh. It's like the energy's running out, and just slowly I'm just burning myself out, and eventually I'll just be a husk of a person smoldering.
Jesus.
Hey, no. We've been doing this, since the beginning. You can see we're not bitter and jaded.
That's right.
You'll be fine. Anyway, anything else, Terrence? Still Rising, yeah, that game is good.
It is, yeah. No, that I think that's it. I mean, well, yeah, but I don't need to go into that. I checked out the Biomutant because it got its upgrade, the X series. X upgrade. Yeah, I messed with that for a little bit. It feels a lot better. Like, I mean, it plays really well.
Did you beat it?
I did not. I'm like halfway through it.
Oh, that game is so much better than it gets credit for. I like that game.
Really? I like what I played. I just, like I said, since I bounce around stuff, it just got put on the shelf because other stuff came out. But, I appreciate the update that they did. It definitely added something. But no, that's all I got.
Yeah, I revisited that one a little bit, and I think I'm gonna try to revisit 13 because it's supposedly like completely reworked. And I hope it's better because that original 13 remake was terrible.
I read. I want to get that, but I'm waiting for whenever they release the thing. Hopefully, it'll be on sale at the time when they release that.
I'm
patch.
sure it will be. Yeah, that game flopped so hard, and I'm like, good on them for going back and fixing it because I want it to be good. I love the way 13 looks, but. Yeah, that original, I made it through about 2, because I was supposed to review it, and I made it through about 2 levels, and I just emailed PR. I was like, I can't review this. I was like, this is so bad. I'm like, I can't even finish it.
It was like, we got like 6 of these emails. We know. It's fine.
Yeah, they weren't even mad. They're like, we know. All right, move on to the Wombat.
All right, so I'll start with Cyberpunk. So I played a little bit more of that. Ken, I'm not sure if you've got in your news the patch update for Cyberpunk. Oh, he just left. Okay. Well, that was peek behind the scenes. Yeah. So I'll just cover it now, just in case. So they added cross progression where it uploads your saves to the cloud, so you can continue where you left off.
Like across different consoles?
It says across other platforms, so I'm assuming that's a yes.
Interesting. I wonder if that's partially to do with Steam Deck?
That would be my guess. They added transmog, which is awesome. Should have been in there in the first place.
It should have.
Just to make sure I'm understanding that right, because I have not touched this game at all. Transmog is when you take the stats of one item and make it look like another?
Correct. Yeah, and some of the stuff that has good stats in this game looks like crap.
Yep.
And it doesn't. I don't want to say looks like crap, as in the design is bad. It looks like the best T-shirt you might have from an armor standpoint might be a crop top that says "bitch" on it. And
you look like crap in that game for most of it, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah, so
I kind of love that.
So that's why transmog is going to be so nice. So I'm glad that's in there now.
I was going to ask you about that. Did you figure out how to do it? Because I went back to my apartment. I booted this up too after the patch. I went back to my apartment and I was trying to. I see that you can set up outfits now, but I couldn't figure out how to transmog.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm still on the patch screen because I was just going through the patch notes. So I haven't actually booted it up to try it out yet.
When you figure it out, let me know, because I could, for the life of me, not figure out how to. Because my look is terrible.
Yeah. They also added some new side missions. They added some new weapons, including a chainsword, which is cool. They added some tie-ins to the anime series Edge Runners. They added a Roach Race minigame, which I don't even know what that is, but it appears to feature Roach from The Witcher. Neon rims for motorcycles. The ability to insert your pet cat into the photos you take around Night City. The ability to change your appearance at a Ripperdoc, and some new hairstyles. So, all in all, it seems like a pretty decent set of updates for a game that's been out as long as this one has. So, but
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll talk about
that's CDPR. They tend to do that.
We'll talk about Cyberpunk in the news because we'll go into the details of this. But one warning for you when you're playing this game: make sure your son's not around when you go into your wardrobe, because when you go to do the outfits, your character is just nude.
Yeah, yeah, I know. You got to watch that.
Yeah, like I booted it up and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go set some outfits and figure out the transmog, and my character was just like, blow, right there. You're just gonna see it, all the business.
All the business. Yeah, so I played just a little bit of that, and I'm kind of making my way through. I really like the game. I like basically all the stuff that it does. I'm having a little bit of trouble, I think, sort of staying invested in it. And I don't know if it's just because I'm coming off of Elden Ring, which I was tremendously invested in. Because I like the game and I like the characters. I'm not as big on the combat. It's okay, but again, I'm not a huge first-person shooter guy, so I think that's maybe part of why I can't get as invested in it. But overall, the story and the characters are enough to keep me playing it. So, yeah, I'll finish it up and be anxiously anticipating the next CDPR release, which is The Witcher for modern consoles. I can't wait for that. Because Witcher 3 is the only one of that series that I haven't played through multiple times. So it'll be my time to play through the third one a second time.
I feel you on Cyberpunk of like hard to get into. I don't know how far you are, but about halfway through that game, that thing clicked for me so hard, and it ended up being one of my favorite games ever. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm about. I would say I'm probably 40% of the way through. I'm in Act 2, but I've been doing some side stuff too, right? So, I really like it. It's just, I was, like Elden Ring was one of those games that's pretty rare for me, where even when I wasn't playing it, it was like all I could think about. Mm-hmm. And this one hasn't quite grabbed me that way, although I've enjoyed really what I've played of it. It just hasn't been like an obsession like Elden Ring was. So, but yeah, I do really enjoy the game, and I wish, like I said before, that it had been as polished at launch, because I think it's kind of a shame that it's a game that clearly had a ton of work invested in it. And it's kind of a shame that it collapsed because the launch was so disastrous.
Yep, agreed.
So, other than that, I've been playing 2 games for review. So the first one I'll talk about is Rocksmith Plus. So, for those of you who don't know, or who haven't played the original, Rocksmith is kind of a combination of a guitar teaching software and something like a Rock Band or Guitar Hero, in that you play them with a real guitar, but you have the notes coming at you on a pathway that you have to try to time it right. So I feel, well, let me just go through the mechanics real quick. So it's PC only at this point. It's a subscription based model, so it's $14.99 a month, or it's $39.99 for 3 months, or $100 for a year. You have to download it and launch it from the Ubisoft Play app on your PC. In terms of how it picks up on your guitar, well, so let me also mention, this should be obvious, but I'm going to state it just in case. You do have to have a real guitar to play this game. So there are multiple ways in which the game can pick up the sound from your guitar. One way is what they call the real tone cable, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a USB to 4th inch jack cable that plugs right into your guitar if you have electric pickups. If, by the way, you owned either Rocksmith 2014 on 360 or Band Fuse on 360, which was a similar type game, they both came with cables that will work for this game. So if you owned either one of those cables will work for this Rocksmith Plus version.
How much is the cable if you have to buy it?
I don't know. I haven't looked it up because I had mine, thankfully. So I didn't have to buy one. So I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. Real tone cable is what they're called if somebody wants to look it up while I'm talking. So the other way is with the Rocksmith Plus Connect app, which is an app that you download on your phone. It basically connects to your computer via local network, and it uses the microphone in your phone to listen to your playing, and then it translates that to what's actually happening on the screen. So I tried both. So I did the real tone cable in both my electric guitar and my acoustic guitar that has electric pickups, and it worked well. The one thing I'll say is that there is, so when you use the real tone cable, the game basically treats your computer like an amp, and so it plays amplified guitar sounds with tone out of your computer, which is cool because it matches the tone that was used in the original songs when you're actually playing songs. There is just a little bit of lag, and it's not too much more latency than you would get out of a real guitar amp. But there is a little bit of a disconnect between when your ears hear the electric guitar string sound and when the sound comes out of the PC. But it's not really long enough for it to be much of a problem. And then I used, so my other acoustic guitar that doesn't have electric pickups, I used the app on, and it worked just fine. I didn't have any lag with that. It worked actually surprisingly well. Picked up the tone well. It has a built-in tuner, obviously, so it's going to help you tune your guitar before every song you play or before every exercise you play if you want it to. So jumping into sort of the game itself, so I feel the same way about it now as I felt about it back then. And that is, if you are someone who is an experienced guitar player, and when I say experienced guitar player, really what I mean is you have the muscle memory to know where each of the 6 strings is without looking at the guitar, and you have a good sense of where each numbered fret is without looking at the guitar, then there's probably a decent amount of fun to be had here, sort of challenging yourself to learn and play the songs that are included. If you're going to use it as a tool to learn how to play guitar, I don't see how you could. Because if you don't have all the string positions and fret positions memorized, you're going to spend a lot of time looking at the actual guitar, and every second you spend looking at the actual guitar is a second that you're not looking at the screen. And when you're not looking at the screen, the stuff coming at you down the pathway, it gets disorienting quick if you have to look back and forth between the guitar and the pathway. So, I am probably best described as your average hobbyist guitar player. I've never been great at guitar, but I'm good enough to play the stuff that I wanted to play. And for me, learning to play songs with it, the basic stuff is easy. It's basic, right? But learning to play songs with it, I would much rather use actual tablature to learn how to play songs, just because I don't like the disorientation of trying to look back and forth between the screen and the guitar. If I was better at guitar and just sort of never had to look at the fretboard or at my strumming hand, I would probably like it more. I had my wife, who has never played guitar, sit down with the basic lessons to see how it would feel for her, and she quit almost immediately. Because she said, it's way too much to try to, keep up with, knowing, okay, there's a blue screen or a blue string on the screen, and I know that is the third string down, and I gotta make sure I'm strumming the third string down, but I have to do it when the screen tells me to do it. It's very disorienting if you've never played guitar before, or if you're just not all that practiced with guitar. So I think probably your mileage is going to vary with the game depending on how much you play. If you play a lot and you just want to use it as a way to A, maybe learn some new songs, and B, sort of challenge yourself in the same way that you would challenge yourself with like a really hard Guitar Hero song, to see if you can play the song with the right notes on the right tempo, then you'll probably have a lot of fun with it. If you are thinking about getting it, and Terrence, I know this was your comment yesterday, if you're thinking about getting it because you think it would be a good way to learn how to play guitar, I just don't see how it would work. I know that's how they're marketing it, but as someone who is self-taught in guitar, and having watched someone who's never played guitar try to use it as a learning tool, I just don't see how it would work. I mean, maybe people would have better success than I have with it, but it just doesn't feel like a great learning tool to me, because there's way too much to try to pay attention to. And, learning a musical instrument can be frustrating enough. So, trying to do it while you also have notes coming at you on a screen, can I think be a little bit overwhelming. Now, what I will say is they do have a ton of options for speed, and the number of notes that you're presented with. The game has a really great, algorithm built into it to present you more notes when it can tell that you're doing a good job, to sort of build you up. And you can set the song to like incredibly slow motion if you're having trouble, which again I think is handy when you're trying to learn different parts of a song, but trying to learn from scratch, it feels like it would still be a little too much. There is a really cool feature in it called Riff Repeater, where you can pick a start and end point, and it will let you replay that section over and over again to try to learn it, which is neat. It's a cool piece of software. I just think the utility is going to be limited if you've never played guitar before.
That kind of sucks because I saw that and I was like, man, that's perfect, because that's something I wanted to try, is to learn to play the guitar, and I was like, that'll be perfect. But yeah, when you said you put your wife over there and she just walked away like, nope. Yeah, I was like, yeah, well, oh well. She
gave it a college effort, and it didn't click. Because again, it's just if you're not already familiar with the guitar, the most basic lessons on there are open notes, or open strings. So it's going to just say, strum the E string, and it's going to show you on the board as it's coming towards you, the E string is red, and so you got to know when you see it, and you can try to count, right? But that just adds another layer of complexity. So, it's just, I just think it's a little too much for a true beginner. But it's definitely a neat piece of software, and I'll say my biggest concern about it was going to be its ability to pick up the sounds from my guitar accurately, and it did that very, very well. And it's pretty neat too, because like if you play, one of the songs in it is More Than a Feeling by Kansas. And so as you're playing it, it'll tell you at the top, it'll say like tone switch acoustic. And so it'll change the sound of your electric guitar to make it sound like the acoustic that's used in the song. And then when you get to the chorus, it'll say tone switch, and it'll, switch it to the tone that's used actually in the electric guitar chorus part, of that song as well. So it matches the song, pretty much exactly, just like a good, an amp with a good set of pedals. That would require a lot of configuration if you had an amp and a set of pedals to try to get the tone right. And the fact that the software basically just gives you the tone that you want is neat.
Do you mean More Than a Feeling by Boston?
That's what I meant. Sorry, what did I say?
I was about to say Ryan.
Kansas,
what are you doing?
and I was like, what
did I say? Kansas?
Kansas.
Yeah,
Kansas.
no, sorry, I meant Boston.
I
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's not what I meant.
That's how it happens when two groups call their name themselves after places.
Yeah,
and they're like the same syllables.
So the other thing,
nobody confuses anybody with Chicago, though.
That's
Come
true.
on.
So the other
and they started off as Chicago Transit Authority and were sued to become Chicago. So to give them some credit, they didn't just name themselves Chicago.
So the other thing I'll say about the song list is it says there are 5,000 songs. Don't buy it. There are a lot of songs, but there also are, 4 or 5 arrangements of some songs, that they include in their total song count. So it's not really 5,000 unique songs. And the other thing I'll say about the song list is it's wide, but not very deep. So chances are you're probably not going to find a lot of the songs that you want in the list. Now it's a live service game, so they'll be updating it with songs and stuff as they go, but, I'm not super impressed by the song list day one. But yeah, anyway, so I would suggest if you're an intermediate or higher level guitar player and you want to use it as a sort of way to test your skills and maybe a way to learn a couple new songs, it may be worth checking out. If you are a beginner that is going to use it to learn how to play guitar, I would not suggest it.
I appreciate that.
Just as an update, the cables are $15 for a generic and $30 for the Rocksmith branded cable on Amazon.
That's not too bad. And like I said, I know both the band fuse and the Rocksmith cables work, so I would imagine the generic cable will work just fine. And then, any other questions or anything from anybody on Rocksmith before I move on?
No,
$15 a month seems super high for me. Like that's like Netflix level.
That's exactly what it is, basically. So, I think your mileage may vary on that, depending on how into guitar you are. And how desperate, if you're like, I think the key demographic for this is probably folks who are really into guitar and who also really liked Rock Band and Guitar Hero. And so that swath of people may be relatively small at this point in 2022, but.
Yeah, I think if it was between $5 and $10, I would consider, because I love to learn new songs. Like I've been playing for, God, now it's been almost 30 years I've been playing guitar, and like I'm so out of practice that I would love to go back and learn some new songs, but $15 a month is just, dude, I can YouTube some tablature.
Yeah, so that's what I was just getting ready to say, because you're self-taught too, right, Ken?
Yeah, I took lessons for like a month and then I quit, but I taught myself the rest.
So I feel like if you've been, so I also have been playing guitar for 20, 25 years now, and I feel like at that point, you're so used to learning how to play with tablature that trying to learn this way almost feels more complicated than just learning to play with tablature. So yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth about how much utility I think people would get out of it. I think it's more of a cool test if you're a good guitar player than a great way to learn.
I think you should explain what tabs are for people that may not know and have interest.
Yeah, so guitar tablature is essentially it's almost like a simplified sheet music for guitar, only instead of showing you notes like would be notes on a staff like would be in sheet music like you would use to learn a song on piano or something like that. It shows you finger position on frets and strings for guitar, basically.
By numbers.
Yeah, by numbers.
So Yeah, so like if you want to on the 6th fret, there'll be a 6 on the 3rd string.
Right.
That means 3rd string 6th fret.
Right. And so the moving road, basically, I'll call it, in Rocksmith Plus is set up like a tab. It's basically set up exactly like a tab. And so it'll tell you 3rd fret, this string, and you just have to kind of know where that is without looking at the guitar, or slow it way down. And then basically you'll see the whole fretboard shift, and it usually shows you about 4 or 5 frets at a time. So when you come down the neck or up the neck, it'll move the screen and say, okay, now we're on fret 8, 9, 10, 11. And so it'll kind of keep you centered that way rather than showing you the whole neck of the guitar. But again, if you don't really know sort of by heart where fret 8 is, it's going to require a lot of looking at the guitar before you, and sometimes probably counting, before you really know what fret you're supposed to be on.
Yeah,
it's easy to get lost.
I don't think people realize how hard it is, like, mentally to remember, like, you've got to strum, you've got to remember where you're at on the frets, and you've got to remember where you're at on the strings. And it's just trying to look at a screen while you're doing that. People who've been playing guitar for years still look at the frets.
Oh,
sometimes.
yeah, I still do. And like I said, now I'm out of practice. I'm definitely not as practiced as I was, 20 years ago. But I still look at the frets and still look at the strings. And so, if I've been playing guitar for, like I said, 20 or 25 years, and I still have to look at them and get confused when I have to switch back and forth between the guitar and the TV, folks with a lot less experience are going to be doing the same thing, and it's probably going to be even more frustrating. So, I really like the software, and I like it as a concept, I think, more than I like it in practice.
Yeah, it sounds cool, but it just, I'll have to look for something else, because it doesn't sound like it's, like, beginner friendly.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Go read some tablature or watch a YouTube video. A lot of people doing YouTube videos will, like, do a close-up of their fingers on the frets.
I think that's important, is the fact that you've got YouTube now to be able to watch hand position is probably, I think probably the best thing you could do to learn at this point, if you don't have somebody that could teach you.
I have to look at that. I didn't even think about the YouTube thing.
Tabs make it really easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because even when you start playing it slow, you can hear what you're, like, as long as you're not playing it awful, you know what I mean? Like, as long as you're playing them right, even if you're slow, you'll be able to pick out the tune, and then it's just getting used to where your hand, like, getting used to actually, playing those notes faster and faster until it actually plays at the right tempo. Bass guitar is a bit different because I'm not using a pick, I'm using my fingers, so it's not as hard because it's kind of just all upward motions.
So I will mention, Anthony, this does have bass guitar as well. So it's not just actual guitar, it's got a whole bass guitar mode as well. But yeah, anyway, that's sort of the overview. I'll have a review up on the site here soon, but I think it's cool software, and it's probably would probably be fun for people who are intermediate to advanced guitar players. If you're a beginner, it's not what I would choose to learn on.
Also, Terrence, if you want to learn to play guitar, start by picking an easy song.
Yes.
Don't try to play Stairway to Heaven on your first shot.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to be like, well, let me do Freebird. Let's do this. Like, I wasn't going to, like, yeah.
No.
I think I would also recommend, Terrence, learning on an electric. Learning on an acoustic is nice because it requires a lot more force to hold the strings down to the frets on an acoustic. And so you get, it can be tough to transition when you're used to playing electric to an acoustic because the pressure's a little different. But it's so much easier, the neck is so much easier to play on most electrics than most acoustics, that it's probably easier to learn on electric.
And
Okay.
you also really hear when you're not on that fret on the light.
Yes. Yeah, you get a lot
That's
of buzz.
what I was looking at too, was an electric guitar. So okay,
Yeah.
cool, all right.
Like, all right, that I did not hit that note correctly. All right, okay, I'm gonna just put this down for now.
All right, so that's Rocksmith. I'm also playing for review Splatoon 3, and that game is awesome. So well, let me say first that I am one of the people that love the first two games, even though the second game was really felt more like a Switch remake of the first. I still love both of those games. And this game takes basically everything that the first two games did right and replicates that, and then takes a lot of the stuff that the first two games did wrong and expands on it. Not in a bad way, in a good way. So, just to start, all the normal multiplayer modes are here. A lot of them are locked behind progression, so you really only get Turf War to start until you level up a little bit, which Turf War is the most played mode anyway. It's the one people are familiar with. When you think Splatoon, most people think Turf War, where you're trying to paint as much of the map as possible. That mode is still amazing, and it's still one of the best sort of multiplayer innovations, I think, from a shooter standpoint at least, of the last couple generations. It's the maps or the matches are quick. There's a lot of tension because you really have no idea who's winning until you get to the end. So yeah, Turf War remains awesome. They've added some new weapons. One of them is a Splatana, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. And it's, it's kind of you swing it, and it not only is it a melee weapon, but it creates like a wave of paint out in front of you. Then there's I can't remember what they call it, but it's basically a bow and arrow. That's also pretty cool. There's a whole bunch of new like sub weapons and special weapons, ranging from, and they're different depending on what main weapon you're using. So for example, if you use the Splat Dualies, which is, like dual wield pistols, that were introduced in the last game, the special associated with that is a crab tank, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. Your character gets in like a crab-shaped mech, and you have both dual sort of paint machine guns as well as like a cannon on that mech. It only lasts for a brief period of time, but you can really, mess some people up with that tank while it's active. There's a zip line thing basically that's like a grappling hook as a special. There's a lot of really, really neat special weapons in that game, in addition to the stuff that's been there for a while, like shields and grenades and the bazooka and stuff like that.
You about to have me spend some more money, Ryan. God dang it.
There's a ton of customization options, just like always, and actually they've expanded that. You have what they call a locker area now, where you can put, stickers and different sort of tchotchkes and little figures that you find around the maps. The single player is dramatically expanded. It starts out and it feels kind of like the single player in the first two games, but it opens up and it is expanded radically. There's a lot of missions that are similar to, I don't know if you guys played the expansion to the second game, but they added like a lot of neat sort of different ways to do puzzles and platforming in the expansion to the second game, and so they carry that over here into some cool levels. Most of the single player levels are going to be what you're familiar with, where they're like a platforming or a puzzle challenge. But there's some neat variations on that in this game. And, the story is the story. It's kind of goofy and a little bit dark at times, but the Zapfish has been captured again, and so you're trying to find out who captured it this time, and you discover this sort of vaguely portal-like set of tests underground that your character has to go through. Agent Cuttlefish is there, just like in the last 2 games. You do have this cool little, it almost looks like a fish and a chicken mixed, called Small Fry.
A fickin'.
Yeah. Or a chish, depending. You can throw him to distract enemies or to attack enemies or to reach things that you wouldn't be able to reach with your paint or by jumping. The core mechanics are the same. You paint the floor. You can swim in the paint that's down if you're in squid mode. It feels like the first true jump forward for the series since the first one, since the second game was a little bit of a half step. This one feels like a true jump forward. You've got the lobby, or you've got the city, the hub world that has some collectibles and stuff that you can find in it. And then in addition to that, you have, the lobby that you're waiting in for multiplayer is you can actually walk around and paint and shoot training dummies and stuff like that while you're waiting for the next match to start. I was able to pretty easily get into matches with my son. You can join, anybody on your friends list as they're playing. If they're in mid-match and the match is full, it'll basically give you a countdown timer until their match is finished, and then it'll drop you guys into a new set of matches together. It's got, private matches unlocked out of the gate, and then a lot of the other modes like Salmon Run and stuff like that you would expect. Salmon Run is much better now. Salmon Run, just for people who haven't played it, is like the Horde mode kind of thing. It used to have a time limit associated with it. The timer is gone, which is much better. I highly recommend this game, especially if you like the first 2 at all. You'll really, really like this one because it's basically everything the first 2 games did well, plus a bunch of extra stuff. It's definitely the best of the series.
That's good to hear because I played my first intro was the second one, and I loved it. It was a lot of fun. I liked the you were talking about Turf War. I used I can't remember what it's called, but I used the big paint brush that like the round. Yeah, you just run with it and take you cover whole swaths.
Yeah, you're talking about the roller or the paintbrush itself?
Yes, the roller. The roller. Sorry, not paintbrush. The roller. Yeah,
so the good news is you start the multiplayer. So just like the last one, you start the multiplayer with your sort of basic splat gun, but then you relatively quickly earn enough upgrade points to unlock at least one additional weapon, and the roller is one of the first ones that you can unlock. So you can unlock that. You can unlock that roller pretty early. I think you can probably unlock it at level 2. It's either probably level 2 or level 3 that you can unlock the roller. So you can get that one pretty quick. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time playing the base weapon. One caution I'll put out there. So I use the Mad Catz Mega Man joypads. Not Mad Catz, Hori. Mega Man joypads that don't have motion control built in. And the game does default to motion control aiming for up and down. So it's going to force you to do a tutorial at the beginning. And the tutorial level won't let you change to non-motion control aiming. So the tutorial is it's not long, but it is a little awkward if you, like me, are using third-party joypads that don't have motion control built in. I know that's a subset of the people that are going to play this, but I do want to make sure I call it out. As soon as you get out of the tutorial, you are able to change it to motion control, so it doesn't last that long, but just as a warning for people who might use non-motion control third-party pads, you're going to have a little bit of a challenge with the tutorial. But it opens up pretty quick and lets you change it away from motion control. And you can't invert aim, Ken, just because I know you're going to ask that question.
No, I will never play this game. I'm not a squid kid. But the subset of people who swear by Splatoon motion controls, y'all are fucking weird.
Yeah,
to me. That's
absolutely.
completely
I'm
weird.
not a fan
Like-
at all.
That almost turned me off of the second one because it was on by default when I first played it because my son had it, and I was like, "No, this is ridiculous."
So my son has been he's been so excited for Splatoon 3 because he loved the first two games, and he booted it up, and he came downstairs, and he goes, "Man, I was really nervous for a minute," and I thought, "Why?" Or I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because the motion controls are on by default." And it wouldn't let me change them. And I thought, man, I'm not going to be able to play this game. I'm going to have to not play it because I can't use the motion controls. But thankfully, like I said, it opens up relatively quickly after the tutorial and lets you change it. So yeah, I hate the motion controls. I think they're terrible.
Yeah, I don't know why
Nintendo
they're
hanging
pushing
on
it.
to that shit.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Nintendo
Like,
hanging on to that shit, man.
I feel like it's
Right,
just a
like-
legacy from the first game because the first game was so, the Wii U
But there's
was
also
so
those
built around it.
weirdos out there. Those weirdos out there who wanted to use it. Y'all are
Yeah,
weird.
not a
Stop
fan.
it.
Yeah. Wait, so before you move, I have two questions. One, the hub, you talked about the hub level. So again, I've only played the second one. So you know how when you load in and those two girls like tell you what the maps
Yes.
are and stuff like that. Does it still do all that?
So this is one of the biggest quality of life improvements over the second game. Yes,
Oh, thank
it
God.
does,
Oh,
but you now have the option when it's doing that. So keep in mind, they don't only do that right when you spawn in, they do it every time the maps change. So one of the things that hasn't changed, which I'm not a big fan of, is there are still only 2 active maps at any given time for Turf War. And
That was my second question.
they
Thank you.
rotate every couple hours. So it's still like that, which is a little bit annoying because you end up playing the same map over and over again sometimes.
Yeah.
But if you remember, the radio show or whatever not only comes on when you spawn in, but it also comes on every time the maps change. And so instead of it being this ridiculous 5-minute unskippable bullshit thing that you have to sit through, you can actually hit the push in the right stick, and it turns it into almost like a radio show or a podcast where you can still wander around the map, and it just plays
sweet.
in the background, so you don't have to sit
Awesome.
through it.
awesome.
Which is
that
much nicer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I'm okay. Well, yeah. You have successfully made me spend money. Good job, Ryan.
Hey, listen, I seem to be doing that a lot lately.
Right?
So
Told you I'm gonna have to stop talking to you, 'cause, man. But no, I'm excited. I loved the second one, and yeah.
if you loved either of the first 2 games, you'll love this one because it's basically everything that those 2 games had and improved. Some people may think that it's not different enough from those first 2 games, but I think it's got enough different about it to justify its price point. And it's definitely an improvement over the last Switch game, which was really almost more like an expansion or a re-release of the first game. So, yeah. Anyway, it's fantastic. I definitely recommend it, especially if you're a fan of the original.
It's good to hear.
And that's it.
All right.
Ken, I
No,
apologize.
go ahead.
I did realize I had some stuff that I just needed to quickly bring up. So that, by the way, the name of that stupid penguin game was Super Sunny Island.
Oh, yeah, I remember now because I
It's-
played that too.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
End of the conversation. This works. It plays fine. That's where that ends. I did like the artwork. Anyways, the other game I played was Troop, which I talked about, which is a Metroidvania where you play as a clown. The animation of the clown when he's attacking and running is hilarious. Otherwise, game not good. And then I forgot I did play more of Made in Abyss, and I don't know how to put it. This is now the second time I feel like I've been bamboozled, tricked, hoodwinked by games that have a lot of mechanics and then use none of them. Disaster Report 4 being the other one. This game starts off really interesting and I'm like, oh, really cool, neat. And then it just kind of keeps shuffling me forward and is like just demanding me to kind of run through these levels. not really collect anything, and I think it's because I'm going through the plot of the anime, but why do we have all these mechanics if you're just going to funnel me through as quickly as possible? I stopped trying to pick up treasures and everything because it doesn't mean anything, because I'm not crafting anything. The only thing I craft is food so I can eat when I take damage, because I've stopped fighting enemies too. There's no point. I'm just going to keep running through. Because I have the robot kid with me who fights all the enemies, so I just let him handle it and just keep moving forward. And it's like, I shouldn't be able to see through the Matrix, I guess is the best way I can say it. Like, I shouldn't be able to go, alright, well, this is all pointless. I can cut all the fat off and not engage with these mechanics and still get essentially the same experience. Like, otherwise, I'm just tricking myself into pretending there's more game here. There's two options when you start up a game, playing as the girl and the robot kid, and then I think just playing as two normal kids. And I don't know, that mode is locked until I finish this mode. And this mode has become so goddamn boring when it's not a cutscene. And I just don't know what happened. Like, it starts off really strong. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. A little bit of jank, but a little bit of, like, experimentation. And no. It's gone. I've just started running to the next thing that I have to do. Because it starts off with you taking missions. And then getting rewards and experience and stuff. And eventually, like, the mission is just get to the end of the level. And the experience is not given anymore because you're not actually going to anyone to get these missions. And I don't know what happened. I don't know why it took such a nosedive. But it did. And I just figured I should bring it up. I'm still playing it. It just, boy, it's really not as interesting to go back to. And that's it. Sorry, I just wanted to cut in.
No, you're good. No, I am the outlier this week. I did not play a ton. Although I do. Last week, I apologize. I totally forgot to talk about The Last of Us Part 1. Like, I had been playing that game for so long and been under embargo for so long that by the time the embargo lifted, I totally forgot. My review had been written. It just went live at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I never talked about the game on the show. So it is The Last of Us Part 1. I know, like, this conversation has gone ad nauseum on the internet, but like, it was such a hard thing to review because, in my opinion, I know most people on the show don't really care for Naughty Dog games. They don't like The Last of Us. I am in that camp with you on Last of Us 2. I felt like it was bloated. I felt like it just wasn't a great game. Now, the first Last of Us is still probably one of my favorite Naughty Dog games. I really enjoy it. I like the game. This upgrade is very impressive. Like, the technical work of it is amazing. Like, this is probably one of the best looking games I've ever played. The issue comes from, like, this is the third time this game has been released since it came out, and it's been released on every platform, PS3, PS4, now PS5. It's $70. It strips out the multiplayer. It's hard for me to say that $70 was the right price for this game. And it's just Sony being stubborn, saying, hey, all of our first-party games are going to be $70, so I don't care what it is, this is $70. I felt the same way about Returnal. I think Returnal is an amazing game. I don't think it's a $70 game. That being said, if you like The Last of Us and you want a better-looking Last of Us, that's exactly what you're getting. This game is exactly the same as it was. How many ever years ago it came out? It's been almost a decade now. Probably longer. But no, it's really impressive. Continues to show that Naughty Dog is one of the high bars as far as visual fidelity goes in this industry. So just wanted to talk a little bit about that. My review's up. I gave it an 8, which I'm surprised I didn't get more flack for because, 10 out of 10 Naughty Dog games. But no, it's really good. It's just, I don't recommend $70. As far as other stuff goes, we already talked about Tinykin. We already talked about Steel Rising. I played both of those. Those are really good. I got kind of in a funk, so I was like trying to find something to play. Like I mentioned, Saints Row. I did go back to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I'm continuing my quest of I think it's called the Legacy Quest, where I'm going around collecting these little the little balls. So last night I just did the quest where I had to find what's his name, Swordfish, I think, from Octopus Bay, to where I had to like swim down in the cavern, and then I had to go fight the Minotaur. And like that entire quest line has been so good. I've got 2 of the 3. Or sorry, I've got 3 of the 4. I need the 4th one. And then once I get the 4th one, then I think I get to go and travel to Atlantis, which I'm really excited about.
Oh, is that the DLC? I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is DLC.
Okay, yeah, I didn't get the DLC for that. Like, I have the, like we were talking about yesterday, I have the, I guess the last mission, but I think it's like the 2-part of that. The second part is in Valhalla, but I didn't buy the other DLCs. That sounds awesome. I want to fight a Minotaur.
Yeah, and the best part is I haven't even made it to Atlantis yet, which is the whole point of what I wanted to do, because it's a whole other world.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just like, this DLC could have been its own fucking video game. That's how big, like the quest line, I've been doing this quest line for I can't tell you how long. It's probably taken me 10 hours to get into Atlantis, and I'm not even finished yet.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, that's what's up.
And one of the quest lines in this was I had to go visit Medusa and answer, I think it was Medusa, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, but like I had to answer these riddles that she gave me. I mean, it's just, this game, I'm sorry, Odyssey is the best Assassin's Creed game. I'm just throwing that down there right now.
Yep.
So good.
It's my favorite. Like, I like Evie from, I can't think of the name of the London one. She's like, I love her character. But yeah, Odyssey is, yeah, it is. It's so good. And I'm gonna have to get the DLC apparently.
It's so hard for me to name
Pick
a
a
favorite.
favorite.
Yeah. It's hard.
I have not loved an Assassin's Creed, and I think Brotherhood was the best of the Ezio trilogy. Like, Brotherhood is so fucking
Yeah, it's very
good.
I
good.
got so tired
Black
of
Flag.
Ezio.
Granted, but in Brotherhood I wasn't. Like, that was only his second game. So,
Gotcha.
and then I love Black Flag. I didn't care for the London one, Syndicate. I really didn't like Unity. I loved Origins. Origins is incredible.
Origins is
I
good.
love Odyssey. I don't care for Valhalla. Like, I bounce up and down.
Yeah.
Like, all over the place with these.
I think just in terms of story, I think Origins is my favorite. But I did really like the story in Valhalla as well. As a game, I think you're probably right. I think Odyssey is probably the best. And as a world, like Greece was gorgeous. But
Yeah.
but I really like the late game story in Valhalla a lot. And I like the way it was set up too, where you're kind of conquering individual areas of the map. But yeah, I think if I had to pick a favorite, of the stories, I think Origins is the best, and as a game, I think Odyssey's probably the best.
Yeah, there's a lot of them take a lot of good things. There is one blemish I do not like about Odyssey. That ship combat is way too fucking hard. You've got to grind way too long to be good at the ship combat, because those frigates out there will just destroy you in seconds if you don't spend the time to collect all the resources to upgrade your ship.
Yeah.
And it's
I feel
annoying.
like
And recruiting the crew.
ship combat is one of those things that was great in Black Flag and Rogue too. It was good in Rogue too, because Rogue is basically built on the Black Flag engine. But it feels like they felt like they had to shoehorn it into all the games after that. And I don't feel like any of the rest of them pulled it off as well as Black Flag did.
And they made a whole game about it.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
Skull
why
and
I'm
Bones.
hyped about Skull and Bones, because I know, I'm the only one that's excited about it. But
Literally the only one.
I liked the ship combat in Black Flag. That's why I'm like, well, shit, yeah, let me do a game that's just that.
You're going to really love being a ship and chopping down trees. As a
I
ship.
know.
That's the best part.
That's yeah. Jeez.
All right. To cap it off real quick, I'll run through the indie games real fast. Radical Rex is still radical. I fucking love that game. Dinosaur on a skateboard. Fuck it. It's awesome. PBA Pro Bowling 2023. That's a motherfucking bowling game. You buy a ball, throw it, knock some pins down. It's fine. White Day, a labyrinth named school. That's a title. That is one of those Asian horror games where you're like a school, in a school as a student, and like it's all creepy. You gotta walk around in first person, do some creepy shit. This game's been out for a while, but it just came to consoles. It's called Justice Sucks. You play as a Roomba who has to protect the house. And like burglars will come in and you can set traps because you can hack stuff in the house to set traps. And then once they're dead, you can like clean them up. It's very bloody. It's very funny. It's a very interesting game. And, I can't talk about that game. I'm also playing a game called Solstice for review, but I can't talk about that yet. So maybe next week.
Okay, well, I guess I have to wait till next week. Yeah, because I actually am looking forward to that one. Okay.
So I'll talk about that game next week. And I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, I went through a slump this week. I was trying to play some stuff and just couldn't get into it. And then I resorted to just playing Overwatch a bunch, which is terrible. I keep telling myself I just need to stop playing this game because in 25 days it's not even going to be the same game anymore. So like maybe I just stop playing it and then like the day before it changes over to Overwatch 2, I have one last night of just playing because we're going to lose a mode. We're going to lose like 5 maps. So, just that last time, just run Hanamura one more time. One more time. But that's it. That's all I got for this week. All right. So let's talk about what is coming out this week. We're still in the flux of lots of games. So let's go ahead and go through the list. Starting with Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, we've got Isanzo, Little Orpheus, expansion for Nobody Saves the World called Frozen Hearth, Cube's 10th anniversary, You Suck at Parking, Blind Fate, Ido no Yami, Despot's Game, Dystopian Army Builder, Metal Hellsinger, throw up your devil signs, play some Metal Hellsinger, Outer Wilds, I'm assuming that's a box copy, that's been out a while, SBK 22, Wayward Strand, Cotton Reboot, and Plunder Panic. I did not know the Cotton Reboot was coming to Xbox. That's a shock to me. I thought that was just Switch and PlayStation. PlayStation 5, pretty much the same games. We're also getting Eternal Drift Twilight Rivals Edition. And that is it. So move over to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Mostly the same stuff. We're also getting Voice of Cards, The Beasts of Burden, Windstorm, Start of a Great Friendship, Unexplored 2, The Wayfarer's Legacy, Arcade Archives Rompers, and Trash Sailors, also known as Skull and Bones.
I mean, honestly.
I'm kidding. It literally is a game called Trash Sailors. Sorry.
Me and the
Xbox
other guy
One.
waiting on Skull and Bones are offended.
Maybe you should go hang out with the Lords of the Fallen guys.
You know what? We're all going to get together and form a little club. It's probably what's going to happen.
Xbox One, pretty much the same stuff. We're also getting Family Man, Last Beat Enhanced, and Knights and Guns, and the big Xbox One game of this week is Amazing Chicken Adventures. So
there are no words.
We get comments.
Okay.
I was going to say, like,
Amazing
there's so many
Chicken
games now,
Adventures.
like, people don't even comment on them anymore. It's hilarious. All right. Nintendo Switch, let's roll. Dead Invaders Modern War 3D. I'm going to skip over all the stuff I've already said because it's on everything else. Sacred Valley, Svoboda 1945 Liberation, According to this, the 13 remake is coming out on the Switch this week, so maybe that new version's out this week. I don't know. Maggie the Magnet, Recnum DX. That sounds terrible. Absolute Tactics, Daughters of Mercy. N4G, Lost Days. Bear and Breakfast. That sounds great. Dungeons 3, Nintendo Switch Edition. Fault STP Light Crofte. Whatever the fuck that is. That's gotta be some anime shit,
I
right?
would think.
Yeah.
That just screams. It's got hyphens in it, and it's got intercapitalization. It's totally anime. Four Tails.
How can you? Sorry, I need to know. We need to know now. How do you spell that exactly? Because you saying it doesn't make any sense to me.
Fault, Fault, all lowercase, by the way, hyphen, capital S, lowercase t, capital P, hyphen, all uppercase, LIGHTKRAVTE. Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. Faults, Lightcraft.
Told you.
Alright, let me...
Oh, you gonna look this bitch up. That's what I'm
Oh,
talking
of course
about.
yeah. It's not
It's
horny.
anime. It's anime though, right?
You are absolutely correct.
Damn right.
Is the latest entry in the Fault series, which has shipped over 500,000 copies worldwide. Worldwide or just Japan? Come on.
Nobody in America bought that game?
No.
I don't know. I've never heard of this series before.
Alright, moving on. Four Tails, Gold Crusader, Gunslingers and Zombies, Innocence Island. Now that sounds horny. Japanese escape games, The Mansion of Tricks. KO the Kangaroo, Top of the Class. Mozart Requiem. Paddles.
Hold on. KO the Kangaroo, Top of the Class?
That's what it's called.
Do you think it's a release for the Switch?
Yes.
Or no, I was like, is it a release of? No, it's a different game. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a different game.
Oh no, it's not. It's DLC. Okay.
Oh, okay. DLC for KO the Kangaroo.
And it's
okay.
free. It's free DLC.
That's something, I guess.
Yeah. Sure.
Polylink Origins. Queen's Garden Sakura Season. Saomi. Silent Sector. Excuse me. Accident. Brutal Chase Turbo. Devoured by Darkness. What the fuck is this game? Kitten's Head Football.
What? Kitten's
That's what's
Head Football.
football. Yeah.
Alright, fucking nope. Hold
Okay.
on.
He's gonna have to look it up.
Nintendo just be like, bring us whatever. We'll put it on here. Like,
Bring us
Nintendo don't
whatever.
care.
Okay, no. The way you say it is not the way I read it when I saw it. Kitten's Head Football.
I mean,
Like,
there's no.
Kitten is a character.
Okay.
This is the way it's written.
So you're telling me it's not
Oh.
it's not football with a kitten's
With
With a
head?
kitten's head.
because that's what I
No,
thought.
it looks. Okay, so this is a poll. Does anybody remember the old Flash Slime football soccer stuff?
No.
No. Okay, it was this really shitty designed, like. Now I have to look it up. I apologize, everybody. This makes for great podcast. Is it Super Slime? Is that what it was called?
I don't know. You told me.
Right?
It was like when you see it, you're going to be like, "Really? People played this?" And the answer is yes. This is what it looked like, and that is what that's what Kitten's Head Football looks like with redesigned graphics. Like it looks like that game where you kind of just bump a low physics ball into the other net.
Okay. So
Okay.
I stand by my original statement of Nintendo being like, just bring us whatever. We'll put it
Oh
on
yeah,
here.
it's just a bring us whatever.
Dude, that looks like somebody made that in Microsoft Paint.
Yeah,
So-
it does.
gameplay went further than graphics for sure because you could play 2-player on the same keyboard, so that's what people would do.
All right.
Okay. All right. We've also got Melatonin, Road Redemption, and Unichrome A1-bit Unicorn Adventure. Okay. There's your video games for the week. There's not a big game this week, is there? Metal Hellsinger is probably the biggest game this week.
And it says something about the fact that the game you just said is the biggest game this week is something I've never heard of.
It's a neat game, and it not to jump straight into news, but it is coming day one to Game Pass. So if you want to check it out, you can do that. Also confirmed to be coming day one to Game Pass is Gungrave Gore. Hell yeah, dude!
Yeah, I saw they sent an email about that before they officially announced it, and I had got it and was like, "Oh, sweet."
I think it was supposed to be announced this week because it is TGS this week. On Thursday, Xbox is doing a TGS stream, so...
What I figured, it was probably for TGS.
Maybe we'll finally get some more Japanese games on Xbox.
Final Fantasy?
No.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 13 Part 4.
Final Fantasy is not coming to Xbox.
It's fine.
Ever.
Because I'll save my money.
You get Crisis Core.
I'm actually okay with that because I didn't play it on because that was the one that was on PSP, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't play that one. So I'm actually looking forward to that.
All right. Cyberpunk announced a new expansion called Phantom Liberty. It will be the only expansion. There's the 1.6 patch Ryan was talking about earlier, and also that is the last patch for Xbox One and PS4. The expansion is not coming to old consoles.
That's probably for the best. I mean, those people are going to be pissed off, I'm sure, because, you know, they're like, oh, well, how come we don't get it or whatever? But, I mean, with all the issues that they had even making that game run on the old consoles, it's probably for the best.
And CD Projekt Red is refunding people who bought the all-in-one edition or whatever, the Cyberpunk Xbox that was supposedly came with all the DLC. They'll get a refund for the DLC.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, some people have already paid for that DLC. So,
damn.
Microsoft announced a Elite controller called the Core, which is basically the 2, which is supposedly more durable. That's what they said about the 2. So we'll TBD on that one. Also, they're bringing the Elite controllers to the Design Lab, so you can make your own custom Elite controller. Boy, I bet that's expensive.
I'm sure.
Took them fucking long enough, though. I'm paying a lot more for an Elite controller, but you can only get the customized... I never understood that. Like, just a basic controller. So I spend all this money on a customized controller, but doesn't have the Elite functions. Not that I use them in hindsight, but whatever.
The Elite Core is basically the main Elite controller, but without all the bonus stuff. So like the extra sticks and the paddles and all that stuff. Like
all the stuff I don't use. Perfect.
Yeah. So it's $129 for that version.
Yeah, I'm willing to get it if they fix the button issues, because I've been through 6 of them because my buttons stopped responding.
I'm just going to wait.
Yeah, I'm going to wait. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to wait for
it.
reviews and stuff. As long as I get, word that shit is fixed, then I'll get one, because I don't use the paddles and stuff anyway. But yeah, I've been through 6. And I don't even use it anymore, the Elite controller. I gave up because every time it just stopped working.
Yeah. I'm going to give it at least a 6-month wait.
Yeah.
So... Nintendo's released a new OLED Switch model, the Pokemon version. It's $10 more. Aw, Nintendo raising the Switch price.
And they said they wouldn't.
You just have
liars.
Pokemon stuff always cost. Like, do you not remember that, the Majora's Mask 3DS XL was more money?
Oh, no, I do. I'm just being funny. I know how Nintendo do.
This is not surprise, but I know that there's people out there that are, literally, they said they wouldn't raise the price, and they did. Mm-hmm. It's like...
Nintendo.
Yeah, man, they always do this. Always. The custom consoles are always more money. The Switch, the Animal Crossing one I have was more money.
Mo money, mo money, mo money. Speaking of new console models, there's a new PlayStation 5 model out there. It runs better, it's cooler, it's slimmer. It's also launching the same day as the price increase.
It weighs less. How does it weigh less? What did you take out?
Oh, they streamlined it. They made it cheaper to make. But they're still going to charge you more.
Well,
Yeah,
that console was
and
over-engineered in the first place. Like, they had...
Sure.
Canada is one of those places that they're charging more as well, and it's like, all right, well, thank God I don't give a shit about this console.
Tencent will now own 49% stake in Ubisoft.
Tencent should have just bought Ubisoft.
Probably, but maybe they don't want what
Because-
comes with it.
Come on, just coming out there and being like, I think our company... You're like, shut up, you're the problem.
Crystal Dynamics has officially taken back control of the Tomb Raider and Legacy of Kain IPs.
And Eidos Montreal has Deus Ex, I think.
Yep, so maybe we could get some of these games on modern consoles?
Let's get some... Let's get some anything. Anything!
I gotta ask Ryan this, and anybody else can chime in as well. Being that this is under kind of like the THQ Nordic banner, and they have like really stupid names for their remasters, what would you call a Legacy of Kain remaster?
Man.
Any of them?
Oh.
Remastered.
Remastered?
definitive,
Yeah.
Reprobed for
Revermastered.
I think Revermastered is...
Revermastered.
I think that wins.
I hope it happens.
Soul Reaver. Oh no, it's gonna get a terrible name. Oh.
I was trying to think of one with Kain.
I was too. I couldn't think of one that would fit any of the titles that he's in.
The Bloodiest Omen. The Blood Omenist version. I don't know. EA has announced a new company called Ridgeline Games from Marcus Leto, who was I believe one of the original creators of Call of Duty, to create a new Battlefield narrative experience.
Please save this franchise. Signed EA.
We'll just put, what's his name in charge of it? The guy that runs Respawn. He seems to do well.
Oh, yeah. I can't think of his name now. Jesus. Yeah.
Fuck. He was the guy that was drunk when he announced Jedi...
Fallen Order. Yeah, I can't think of his name.
Fuck. Oh, the guy heads Respawn. I can't think of his name. It's terrible. Velma will no longer call the cops on LeBron James and multiverses.
The fact that that's a sentence that exists is
in
what
2022.
makes this the stupidest timeline.
I
So
would
it's
agree.
called the Mystery Machine.
Vince Zampella. That's
Which
his
is
name.
what she should have... She should have just done that in the first place.
Yes.
Jinkies, this is a thing.
And so, like, how did we get so far with her calling the cops? Second, could you not foresee this happening when you're adding real-life people to your game?
Right.
I just don't... How does this go through multiple people? And no... This is the reason why I always say, like, truly bad decisions are made by multiple people. Because multiple people had to look at this and go, it's fine. None of you thought maybe this is a bad idea?
But see, I feel like those people that okayed it are the same ones that think like I do, because I don't think that it's a problem. I think it was fine that she was calling the police. Yeah, LeBron James is there, but it's in character. This is a video game. In Scooby-Doo, that's what they do. Like, her whole shtick is she finds clues, and then that ultimate where she calls the cops. Like, it's a part of the character. Like, I don't understand why people... I don't know. I said this on Twitter. There's awful things all over the place. We don't have to make mountains out of molehills. Like, I don't know. But that's just me. But
So you're right. I agree with you. Like, in theory, I'm like, yeah. Except that I know that there's shitty people out there. Because I recall someone going around in Watch Dogs and killing certain people because of the the status thing that comes up in Watch Dogs. And somebody made a video of just that. And it's like, it looks bad. Like, to me, it's like, yeah, none of this is real. Who gives a shit at the end of the day? But it's like, you're Warner Brothers. You're putting in a real person, even a cartoony version of a real person in your game where someone can call the cops. And it's like, and do you not think that some fucked up people on the internet are going to purposely do this shit over and over and over again? It's like, again, when there's this much money being thrown at something, I kind of was like, why wouldn't this be thought of? That's all. I mean, otherwise, like, what was was it 37 people? 36
33.
people? 33 people. 33 people signed a petition. I mean, people weren't upset. It's just one of those things where it's like, when you do that, and you're not like, look, because if they'd come out and said, look,
I didn't even know there was
none
a
of this is
petition.
real.
I just read that story out of the blue that they changed it, and I was like, well, what the F? Why? Like, okay.
The petition was signed by everybody waiting on Lords of the Fallen and Skull and Bones.
Wow.
I am shocked that it didn't come across my email, as I am one of them.
I get it. It's not real, and like, at the end of the day, shitty people are going to be shitty. It's just, you don't want to be tied to that. And that's the reason why it's like, Warner Brothers, all these big companies play this game, like, where they're like, we want to be seen this way, but then they don't actually put any effort into it. That's kind of where I'm just like, oh, how does no one think and be like, no, that's going to look bad.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I do. I just
because at the end of the day, again, it's not even LeBron James. It's cartoon LeBron James in a video game where the Iron Giant fights people, which is totally not on character.
Right.
So it's like, all right.
Well, and even because my kid said this, the LeBron didn't play himself in that movie. He's like a fictionalized version of him. I didn't see the sequel, but it's a fictionalized version of himself. Like, he's very arrogant and stuff and whatever, I guess. So I mean, even I don't know. It's a video game, and I think sometimes I just deploy common sense where, it's not, common sense is not common anymore, unfortunately. But I
no room for your common sense in video games.
No. I just, because I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't get offended at stuff like that. And I'm saying it as a black man, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get turned up like, oh my God, like, it's a game. Like, Velma is my main. Like, I call the cops on everybody. Whatever. Like, so, shit. Like, I just.
Great, you're the problem. Way
I
to
know,
go.
yeah, I'm the problem.
Anyway, all right. I got a couple. So I know, Anthony, you're tired of hearing about it, but the Nintendo Direct is more than likely happening this week.
Oh Lord.
And it's probably going to have Zelda and Metroid Prime Remake. So you can stop getting mad at people for saying it if it happens this week.
No. Here's the thing. Okay. I hope it happens this week, so I never have to fucking hear about it again. But if it doesn't happen this week, you know what we're gonna have to fucking deal with. Well, not me anymore. I'm on Twitter. But it's just like, I can't believe that they didn't announce it. They clearly have it done. Ugh! No! That's how this works. Like, you know nothing. Ugh. And like, how long have people been saying this since the fucking Switch came out? That's right.
It's probably been done that long, truly.
I hate you, Ken.
Alright, Silent Hill 2 remaster cropped up again this week with some screenshots and some design documents, and the biggest thing coming out of this story is that it's probably going to be timed exclusive to the PlayStation.
I can see that. I mean, that's what they do. They pay the
Watch
money
it be terrible.
Yeah.
I think Phil Spencer should make a statement saying that
it's an unfair advantage for them to be.
It was not a good offer because Jim Ryan certainly called out Phil Spencer for his COD offer.
Is this you segueing?
Don't you like that? Did I do well?
I like that.
Yeah,
that was
pretty
good.
smooth. That was a pretty smooth segue. I do want to talk about Silent Hill 2 remake for a second though.
Go ahead. We'll talk about Jim Ryan in a minute.
It's gonna be bad. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be like, this is not one of those scenarios where I'm like, I really hope I'm right or I know better. It's just like, it's Bloober Team. And I don't know. I don't think they're gonna do a great job with that. I'm sorry. I just cannot see it. It'll look nice, maybe.
Here's the thing. No matter what Bloober Team does, Silent Hill 2 is etched in people's memories as one of the greatest survival horror games ever made. Nothing they do is going to be good enough.
Fair. I mean, just on a level of, like, their work. I'm not even comparing it to the original.
They've never had combat in their games.
Exactly. And they've only done first person. And I don't think any of their games have been spectacular. They do some neat things, but, like, okay. Like,
their games are always okay.
So they're getting one of the most beloved games of all time. It's different from what they normally do. And I feel like people forget, like, that game, the PS2 version of Silent Hill 2 is the only version people really will tell you to play. Because the Xbox version has different lighting that doesn't feel the same. The HD remake is apparently bad. I'm not ever putting it in, so just, but it's apparently terrible. So it's like, there's been attempts to bring this elsewhere, and the PS2 version remains king, and there's likely a reason why. And part of that's probably because they built it around the restrictions of the PS2. So you take all these design choices that are done because of restrictions, and you put it somewhere where those restrictions aren't there anymore. It doesn't come off the same way. It feels more lazy than... And, like, if you're... Like, what's the point of recreating Silent Hill 2? The surprise isn't going to be there. So you're either doing... It's kind of like the Final Fantasy VII remake thing. Like, you're either deviating so far from it that, like, it's its own thing at that point, or you're just kind of retelling the same story, and what's the point? Although, Final Fantasy is a bit different because they made the gameplay different, but how are they going to make the gameplay different in Silent Hill 2? I don't know. It just seems like a bad decision all around. And good luck trying to recreate those cutscenes, because those cutscenes are done way better than they should have been in 2000 by, like, one guy. The CG. And it's amazing how detailed that CG is. And fucking, what are you going to do now? Like, oh, it's super hyper realistic. Yeah, it doesn't come off the same way. And then, are they going to have new voice actors? Like, it just seems like a bad decision all around, and then you put Bloober Team in charge of it. I'm like, wow, we're just setting ourselves up for failure. And I'm not trying to shit on a team that makes their own games, but, like, now they're not working against just themselves. They're working against a prior work. I just don't get it. I don't get this idea at all. I get it, it's money, but, like, I don't think it's going to be as successful as they want it to be.
Well, they already got some money, probably, because PlayStation exclusive. So Sony paid a big hefty check to keep it off of Xbox and Nintendo Switch or whatever, but I hate this practice.
Keep going.
I do too.
You're doing a good segue back in.
Yeah, you were. I thought you were about to segue back in.
Well, I mean, I can if we want to talk about Jim Ryan and the Call of Duty. So this comment came out, basically him saying that Phil Spencer's offer for keeping which, by the way, the offer was keeping Call of Duty on PlayStation 3 years after the agreement, which I think the agreement ends in 2025 or 2024. So basically 6 more years of Call of Duty on PlayStation, which would probably be the end of this generation. He said that's not good enough. And I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, motherfucker don't have to give you nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I said when I read it. I was like, nigga, he didn't have to do that. Like,
this is from the genius of Jim Ryan, though, who also said that old games weren't worth playing, and then sort of reneged and went, here's our service, and then the service fucking bombs.
They need to get rid of him. Right? He's going to destroy the PlayStation brand. Like,
he really feels like
he's trying real hard.
Lesser version of Don Matrick.
Yeah.
Like, he's not as bad, but he opens his mouth a bit too much and says some dumb things.
Yeah.
Which, who doesn't? But, the 4 idiots on this podcast right now don't run a company.
I was going to say, I don't run a multi-billion-dollar company, Anthony, so I'm allowed to be stupid.
Yeah, and I think what was weird about that quote, too, is that, because he was like, I think he said something about I wasn't going to put this in the public, spectrum or whatever, but since Phil said whatever he said, what? I don't think Phil had said any particulars. He just said that, the conversations had been made, but I guess Jim Ryan felt like, well, let me whip up my base real quick and let them know they're trying to do PlayStation dirty, and he'll let them fight the battle. I don't know. The whole thing, I really hope that Microsoft's deal goes through, not because I'm a fanboy, but because I really would like to shut up the PlayStation people.
The thing is like, I start to hate these brands because of the people who are out there, like, bootlicking for both sides.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, it makes me root against you.
Right. Exactly. That's where I'm at. Yep.
I don't understand why Jim Ryan wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire, so why you defend his company, I haven't the slightest idea. Neither would Phil Spencer, to be fair. He might spit on you, but he definitely wouldn't piss on you. He's a little nicer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But neither one of them are going to care. The only thing they want is you to open your wallet and subscribe to Game Pass or buy a PlayStation 5 or spend $70 on a remake or whatever. I don't know. That's all they want you to do.
$70 for a remake on a console they just upped the price in everywhere but the US,
but cut the cost of making it.
Yep.
Yeah, so they
it's
save
rough
themselves
times.
money
Okay, cool.
and they make more money. See how that works?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's called business. It's smart.
Business.
All
Well,
right.
did they ever really have a price decrease on the PlayStation 4?
Yes.
I don't think so.
When the Slim came
Pro,
out.
I don't remember the Slim being cheaper. I remember it just replacing
The
PS4.
Slim PS4 went down to $299, didn't it? Because it was originally $399.
Oh, wow. Maybe. I feel like that console generation 2 was the same thing where it was like, all right, well, fuck you. Here's what you pay, what we ask you to pay, and then, because the PS4s got hard to find for a while.
Yeah, everything got hard to find
just
after a while. If Microsoft was smart, they'd sell Xbox Series S this holiday for $250. Just leave the Series X at $500, but make the Series S $250.
Wow.
That thing would sell.
Yeah, it would.
All right. One more news story before I go into the two showcases we had this week. Overwatch 2 is apparently locking characters behind the Battle Pass.
Haha. I'm sorry, I said that aloud.
I mean, you can laugh at it, Anthony. I will earn it every month. You know that.
It's just...
It's terrible. As somebody who plays this game regularly, there is so much wrong with this. For a game, the thing about Overwatch that's so different from every other shooter is that game relies on the characters for the meta and the balance.
Right.
May I interject as someone that doesn't play the game, who exactly knows where you're going? I can only imagine the matches where there's, all the free characters are the only ones you see. Yeah.
Well, no, so I understand where you're coming from, Anthony, but they're not locking the original 32, and they're not locking... They're not locking 2 of the 3 new ones. They're locking 1 of the 3 new characters.
Well, that's better than I thought it was. I thought they were locking some of the original characters, and I went, Jesus Christ.
No. You'll have access to all of the heroes up front. But here's the thing, and somebody made this comment. I'd give credit if I remembered who it was. Support players, which is the character they're locking, is the new support character, haven't had a new character since 2019.
Yeah, it's rough out here for supports. Because I play support.
So support players haven't had a new character, and they're going to have to grind to unlock the new character before they can be used. And here's the thing. Overwatch is a game of, yes, you have your one tricks. You have your people who only play one character. And by the way, those people suck. Overwatch is a team game. You should be switching when the enemy team is fighting a certain meta. Imagine if this new hero is really good against something that somebody's playing. Somebody on your team asks you to swap, but you haven't unlocked them yet.
It's going to hurt the
It's
team.
bad for the game.
Yep. Hopefully
they change it. So, All right, we had 2 showcases, one on Friday, one on Saturday. The first one was the Disney/Marvel game showcase, which, by the way, I have to say was fucking terrible.
Yeah, that could have been an
Like,
email.
That thing was so poorly designed and laid out, and I know there's a lot of people behind it working on it. I'm not criticizing those people, but literally this could have been, like Taryn said, this could have been an email. So Mike Bithel's making a Tron game, which we got a Metroid Prime 4 style logo for. That was it. Delala Studios, the people who rebooted Battletoads, are making Illusion Island, which is a 4-player side-scrolling action game featuring Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Goofy, which looked pretty cool. I like
Yes,
Battletoads.
That looked cool.
Will I play it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I especially like those Mickey cartoons that the style's based on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, me too.
If you haven't watched those,
they're
there's
very
some on
good.
YouTube. Watch the new Mickey Mouse cartoons. They're like more child-friendly Ren and Stimpy
Yeah, they're very
cartoons
good.
almost.
Yep.
With some of the weird close-ups and everything. I love those cartoons. Oh my god, they're so good.
Also, it's Delala Studios. I liked the Battletoads remake. Sue me.
I did
Yeah, I
too.
liked it too.
I thought it was good.
People hated that game, and I don't know
Yeah, I don't know why either. I liked it
Hit
a lot.
of things.
Then they showed off some gameplay of Midnight Suns, which as soon as the cards came up, I noped right out of that one.
Of course you did. I, on the other hand, was
Yep.
excited. I'm excited. I'm
Yeah, of
happy
course
that
you
it
were,
has.
Terrence.
I know. I'm like the card king over here. But yeah, I'm happy that it got a release date for this year. So it's coming in December, I think.
December 2nd.
Yeah.
It's also getting sequel or prequel short animated stuff. So, Marvel Strike Force is a mobile RPG to be out September 13th.
Does it have cards?
It doesn't have cards. It's already out. That's the update. It's been out for years. It's a character collecting RPG, one of those type of games.
Oh, it's that one.
Yeah.
I've seen ads for it. Yeah.
Hold on. I got your game though. Marvel Snap
There you go.
is a card
That's
game.
the one.
Yeah. I actually am already playing that because I, downloaded it from the Philippines because it's already out in soft launch. It actually, for those of you that are listening that do play cards, unlike these people
This
here.
man needed his fix so bad, he made a Philippines account for
Bro,
a fucking mobile game. Just take that in for a moment.
That's actually the truth, though, because I have a Philippines account, I have a Japan, I have a Canada, I have a Netherlands. All the little soft launch stuff that goes.
I need that card games, bro.
You know what else? You know what else you have?
What?
A problem.
This is true.
Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga Galactic Edition. They're going to be releasing a bunch of new character packs.
Yeah.
Was that
I
free?
was not impressed.
I didn't know. Is that paid packs? I couldn't.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I just was like, really? And gonna be honest with you, the DLC characters in that kind of sucked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they did.
They were just like reskins of characters you already had, which I know that happens anyways, and you could get early unlocks with that, but they didn't have any voice acting.
Nope.
They're just kind of like, alright, well, I could have just waited to get Boba Fett.
This was the announcement of the show for me. Gargoyles Remastered. I will play that. It's not going to be out till 2023, but I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Another mobile RPG, Mirrorverse, will be out in October. It's based
That's already out,
It's already out.
so it must
Okay.
be an addition. Mirrorverse, nothing...
Oh, sorry, it's getting villains in
Yeah.
October.
Okay.
They're adding
That's
the
what it
villains.
So, Mirrorverse, I'm gonna say it right now, is what it feels like somebody was like, okay, we have all these designs made for Disney Infinity, make them a little bit more angry looking, and call it a day. Put some armor on those fools and send them out.
Pretty much.
I love the designs of some of the characters, but I'm never playing an RPG on my phone.
Next up was Speedstorm. It was just a new trailer featuring Monsters Inc. and them saying it's coming soon.
That's a really good racer game. There was an alpha or a beta last year that it was only on PC that I got to play in. It's a lot of fun. The music in that game is fire. And then and it's free
I
to
hope
play.
it's good.
Yeah, it was solid right there. I know, but it's,
I would rather pay than a free to play game.
I got you. I don't think it's going to be that bad though. Like it was the gameplay. I think will keep you coming back. And it didn't. I mean, it didn't have any of the pay options, in there. So I don't know how obtrusive it's going to be. But gameplay wise, it was pretty solid.
I'll check it out. It's free. Sometimes it works, multiverses. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Disney Dreamlight Valley got a trailer for the Toy Story realm. Not much to talk about there. Avatar Reckoning, which is... I said it on Twitter. This game looks like a reskin of Defiance. If you remember that, that game did really well.
Oh my god.
Yep.
They released that game twice, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yep, they re-released it. Yep.
It might still
Remember,
be going
it was supposed to have weekly content with the show. Remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, it worked out well for you. And then finally, the Untitled. The fact that you call the game Untitled means that we ain't seeing this game for God knows how long. Black Panther and Captain America game.
So, I was excited about that game when there was it leaked, I think, the picture. And I was like, oh, dope, it's going to be co-op Captain America and Black Panther because those are my two favorite Marvel heroes. Magneto is tops, that's my boy, but those two are my heroes. But it's not co-op, it's single player. You just switch to different people. That makes me sad.
You switch between Captain America, Black Panther, and then generic army guy and person from the Black Panther area, right?
Wakanda.
Yeah, it's
Wakanda. Sorry, I couldn't remember the name.
They named the people because the one soldier guy, I can't remember his name. There was an interview that they did with Amy Hennig and all of them, but it's one of the Howling Commandos is what the soldier guy is.
But why? Okay. Why not a named character from the soldier side? I
don't know. Because actually somebody I would know, but right. I don't know Marvel stuff. Well, it might be an obscure comic character. I'm sorry, and then I'll let you go. The Dora Milaje chick that's with them is an obscure character. She was mentioned in one issue they talked about, and she's the the head of the spy network with for Wakanda. So yeah, sorry, Anthony, go ahead.
I have a pitch for you. What if we have you switch between three characters and an open world, and we use the Saints Row lore? Oh, sorry, it's different game, but that's what it feels like, right? Because you're like, oh, it'll be co-op. No, it's not. Yep. It's not going to be multiplayer at all.
Agents of Mayhem. What? That's the
Agents of Mayhem.
That is the vibe I got because I thought Agents of Mayhem was going to be co-op. Me and my son was hyped. We was like, oh, we about to single player. Like what?
I don't understand this world anymore. The last announcement was Marvel World of Heroes, which is coming from Niantic, the same people who brought you Pokemon Go.
Nothing they've done since has taken off like Pokemon Go.
Nope. No, but then
their
Pokemon Go is
take off.
Pokemon Go is the perfect thing for that style.
Yeah.
Pikmin didn't take off, although the Pikmin one sounds lovely, and I kind of
the Harry Potter one
interest in playing.
Got canceled. They
bombed.
Killed it. It lasted for a while because my wife played it, but then they took it offline, so it's not even a thing anymore.
Oh, excuse me. All right, let's go through the Ubisoft thing. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, a new trailer with a bunch of gameplay, and they announced Rayman is coming.
Yes, thank God. Just give him his own game, God damn it.
It'll never happen. Skull and Bones was shown. Woo! That's why I yawned. I saw the name Skull and Bones. Update to Riders Republic. Okay.
I didn't even know that was still a thing.
Dude, I felt like the Ubisoft Forward was a bunch of games that I don't play anymore because there were 37 Division games. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus, I didn't know the Division was still going like that. All right.
Yep, you got the Division 2 Heartland. I don't even know. There's so much Resurgence, Rainbow Six Mobile. So many mobile games, so many free-to-play Division, Rainbow Six stuff. I can't even keep track. Mythic Quest Season 3
was
the next announcement. Trackmania is going to be free to play, coming to consoles and PC in early 2023. Rocksmith Plus, which Wombat went into detail about. Just Dance 2023, obviously. Keep on going. And then we have the Assassin's Creed thing, which there's a lot to unfold here. So Assassin's Creed celebrating its 15th anniversary. They announced Mirage, which is a throwback to the original Assassin's Creed. It is a couple notes about it. It is 15 to 20 hours, so, tight experience. It's also $49.99.
I did not know that. Wow.
I didn't know that either.
Okay, hold on. Did you just say 50 to 60 hours was a tight experience?
It's 15 to 20 hours long.
15 to 20. Okay, sorry. I misheard. I heard 50 and my brain just went, what the fuck do you mean tight experience?
No, it's a 15 to 20 hour game.
Oh, thank God.
It's
I can't
$50. It takes
not
place
bad.
in Baghdad. And Ryan probably knows more about this. Basim is a character from Valhalla. He is the main protagonist.
Pretty major character in Valhalla.
Yeah. So this takes place, 20 years
Correct.
before
Yep.
Valhalla?
Yeah, around 850
Just want to make
AD.
sure I got all that right. Cool. And then they announced a bunch of new, what's in the Assassin's Creed Infinite or Infinity, whichever one it is. There's a Japan trailer, or a Japan game coming called Red. There's also Hex, which is like during the Salem witch trials. There's Assassin's Creed Jade, which takes place in China. I believe that's a mobile game.
I didn't know that. God dang it. Why is everything mobile?
It's like a weird mobile open world kind of game.
Yeah. So lots of Assassin's Creed stuff. Also, if you haven't seen it, there is a documentary about Assassin's Creed that went up on YouTube right after the event. I need to watch it this week, but basically just recapping the entire series history.
Cool.
So.
Oh, that sounds neat.
You said that went up on YouTube?
Yep. Yeah, it's up on YouTube, so you can watch it there.
I'll have to check that out.
Cool.
Yep. So the Assassin's Creed stuff was the best stuff, which is normally the stuff that I don't even get excited about, but they've done really well with Assassin's Creed lately. Everything else in that Ubisoft Forward, that thing was well over an hour, and I don't feel like it needed to be more than 30 minutes.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Everything in Ubisoft's repertoire now just feels so lifeless to me. I get why Just Dance is still around, but man, so much Division, so much Rainbow Six, and because
Sam Fisher is dead.
Sam Fisher's been dead. He's gonna stay dead.
It makes me so sad.
No Lazarus Pit for Sam Fisher. That's it though. That's all the news I got, unless somebody has anything else. Close that, and then I'm going to pull up an email that I got. So this email comes from Jeremy. He says, "Hey guys, hope everyone is doing well. I'm slowly getting away from Terraria after being glued to that game for over a month. What a great game to play with the kids. I picked up R-Type Final 2 on sale the other day and been playing that. I dig it, but man, I die. A lot of bullets I can't see. I think I'm just going to have to memorize every level. Also jump back into Diablo 3 Season 27. I don't know how Blizzard will ever top this game unless they program the controller to blow cocaine into your face every time you get a legendary drop. F your couch."
It's funny talking about Blizzard. My son, day before yesterday, was like, "Hey, have you heard of WoW, World of Warcraft?" And I said, "Son, I played WoW in the beta." And
that's the conversation you don't want to have with your children. "Dad, have you heard of WoW?" No, it's not real.
He's like, "Yeah, my friend just started playing it," and I'm like, "Well, I hate to tell you, son, but it is ridiculously addictive."
There's a reason it's been going on for
now,
more
15
than that,
years, right?
I
think it was 2004 when it was in beta, so I think it's been 18.
Jesus Christ, so 7.
Yeah, because my oldest was 1, I think, when I started the beta. Because I had to work out a contraption to play the game and feed the baby, hold her and feed her while I was So yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Jesus.
All that All that Blizzard
that's
stuff
a long
runs
time.
forever, man.
Yeah.
I know, right? And then I guess Diablo 4 is going to be the first replacement in how many years? Well, I guess Overwatch is more recent because Overwatch 1 came out in 6 years ago. Fuck.
Yeah. And that was their first new IP in how many years when they put Overwatch out? I don't even know how long it was.
Jesus, what was the last new IP before Overwatch?
It might have been StarCraft. Was it StarCraft?
Jesus, no,
No, because Diablo came after StarCraft, I think.
no, it didn't. Diablo was out before StarCraft.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Was
that's
it
right,
really
'cause I didn't-
StarCraft before?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look.
Holy shit.
I don't know
Good
what I'd do
Lord,
if my
man.
son asked me about World of Warcraft. My kids don't play RPGs like that though, so they probably wouldn't even look into
Yeah,
it.
I go back and
No,
I go
my
back
son
and forth
doesn't
on
either.
whether I'll probably let him play it and just carefully monitor his playtime.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you have to do that because if you leave him carte
Yeah.
blanche, ooh.
Yeah, he gonna be in there all the time.
He though is not one.
Yeah.
He doesn't tend to be one that gets obsessive about a game and doesn't play anything else. He tends to bounce around a lot. So I don't know.
Like
I don't know
me.
how. Yeah, he is. So I don't know how. I don't know how deep he would let it get its hooks into him anyway. But I would still make sure I monitored his playtime if he started playing an MMO because they're too easy to lose time in.
Yeah.
So, Anthony, are you the only person on this show, and maybe the only person in the world who has not had a crippling addiction to a Blizzard game?
Correct. I have not played.
Okay.
I thought about it, and it's like I may have played some Blizzard stuff, but yeah, no, I've never been.
I feel like everybody.
I don't like RTSs. I don't like MMOs. That cuts off a bunch of their shit. So
I feel like
Team
everybody
shooters,
I've
I
ever
have played Team Fortress 2, and Diablo, I've only really played Diablo clones. So
It's weird because I feel like everybody I've ever talked to who enjoys playing video games has had an addiction to one Blizzard game or another.
Yep. I am multiple. Warcraft 3, StarCraft 1, not so much StarCraft 2. Diablo 3, like I've had multiple addictions to World of Warcraft. Like I love Blizzard.
I had two really bad ones. I had StarCraft, which I played for years, and now Overwatch, which I've played for
I
fucking
played
half
a
a
lot
decade.
of the original Warcraft on PC, and then Warcraft 2, obviously Warcraft 3. Even though I'm not really big on RTSs, I did like those games. World of Warcraft, I was certainly addicted to it for a while, but I managed to kick my addiction after probably 350 or 400 hours, unlike some folks I know that have years and years invested.
Yeah. I have a friend that I
tell you
started
my
the beta
hour
with.
count.
He's still there.
Yeah.
He's still playing.
I was done. I was
I
done
wanna
the
tell you
same. I was
something.
done with
Oh, go
WoW
ahead.
the same year it came out. Actually, I never even made it to the first expansion.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
I played a ton of it in beta, a ton of it after it came out of beta, and then, quite honestly, I resented how much time it was taking, and I wanted to play other stuff, and so I bailed on it from there. I think it helps that it wasn't my first MMO, because I had played City of Heroes before that. And I was obsessed with City of Heroes for a while too, and probably put 400 or 500 hours in that as well. But the same thing happened to me with City of Heroes and City of Villains. I got resentful of the games for how much of my time I felt like they were taking, because it prevented me from playing other stuff. So, to be fair, I was also working 2 jobs when that game came out. So, it was also taking an inordinate amount of my sleep as well. So, I bailed on it. Again, I did put, like I said, 350 or 400 hours in, but then I noped out hard and never went back.
Anthony, I just want to mention, you said you did not like RTSs and you didn't care much for team shooters. I don't either. In fact, I don't play any other team shooter or RTS, but my two most addictive Blizzard games were an RTS and a team shooter.
Yeah, but I don't go into this series going, I'm going to play this. I don't know how you end up in there. I know I don't like them. I've tried them.
Dude, so
well, that's not true. I played Team Fortress 2, but I liked Team Fortress 2, but then I fell off Team Fortress 2, and I'm just like, I'm not interested in getting into another one.
Both of the games I got addicted to. So StarCraft, I was working at Electronics Boutique at the time, and I worked with a bunch of guys who played on PC, and they talked me into buying StarCraft. Like, they were making this big deal about StarCraft. I'd never heard of Blizzard at that time. I'd never, I knew what Warcraft was. It wasn't my jam. StarCraft came out and everybody's like, oh my god, everybody's got to play it. So they talked me into buying it. I played 2 games online with these guys, and the next thing I know, 2 years later, I had sunk probably 1,000 hours in that game. Overwatch was, Jay got a review code, and when they sent the review code, they also sent an Xbox code. So he played it on PC. So I downloaded it, and I started playing it, and I was like, this isn't going to stick. I don't play online games. Even at that time, I don't play online games. And here we are 6 years later, I'm still playing this motherfucking video game.
Changed your life.
Dude, you have no idea. Dude, I've got t-shirts. My wallet is a Lucio wallet. I want you to know that.
Okay, yeah, it did change your life. That's what's up.
It's just, I couldn't even believe that I couldn't believe that I played it as much as I did. And I cannot believe when I look at my counts now. Dude, I spent more time in Season 36 of competitive Overwatch than I did any combination of every game I've played this year. I put 150 hours in Season 36.
Dude. Jesus.
Yeah. That's all I gotta say is just, I can't say anything else at this point. Like, I tried to stop playing it yesterday. I logged off. I started playing something else. I watched some TV. I was back on that game 2 hours later.
Yep, that's obsessive.
It's awful.
Yeah. I hope the second one grabs you like I hope the new one grabs you like this, because I know you played the beta, but I know they're making changes to different stuff. But I hope you still get that enjoyment.
I hope it doesn't. Truthfully, like I sit here and I think about it, I'm like, God, I hope I hate the sequel so I can play other games more.
Yeah, you'd have some time back. I got you.
It's crazy. The only tweet I have comes from our horror conversation last week. Comes from Henrik. Says, since you talked about scary movies last week, I'd like to chip in my recommendation. You probably haven't seen, but should. As Above, So Below.
I've heard of that. I have not seen it, but that title sounds so familiar.
I've heard that movie's title, but I have not seen that movie. I did watch Drew's movie this week, which he's not here to talk about. I watched Breakdown because he screamed about it. I thought because we were having horror conversations that it was going to have like a horror twist.
No, it's just a thriller.
Yeah, it's just a thriller. I mean, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. But yeah, that's not a horror movie.
Oh, I have seen
Above,
this.
Sorry,
I screened
As
it.
Above, So Below is the one that takes place in the catacombs.
Yeah, in Paris.
No, thank you.
What's the premise? Is it like ghosts?
I didn't look into it anymore.
Well, I screened it back. This was back in the day when it came out in 2014. But it, I think it's like, if I remember correctly, it's loosely based on like the circles of hell, like the 7 layers or circles of hell or whatever.
Oh.
Like it's loosely based on that. It wasn't bad. Like it was good as a horror movie. Like it wasn't bad. Like, yeah, if you can find it streaming or whatever, you should check it out.
Yeah, if I can find it streaming, I'll check it out. There was a bunch of stuff went live this weekend, so I was going to watch Morbius because it's on Netflix, because fuck it. Just watch it once and be done with it. But I didn't get around to watching it.
He doesn't say it's Morbin time, so just get that out of your head now.
I don't care. I didn't get around to watching that, but I did watch Thor. What the fuck happened to that movie?
Yeah, I took the kids to watch it, and I was like, meh.
That movie was not good.
Yeah.
So there's multiple layers to this, but so I'll let Terrence finish his thought. I apologize.
That was all I had. But about the As Above, So Below, I think it's a found footage movie, if I'm remembering the right one. So I don't know if you have a problem.
Yeah,
with
that's what
those.
it said on Wikipedia.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so,
I'm not a big fan of those.
Yeah, you probably won't like it because it is a found footage video because it came out
I
at
did-
the height of all that.
I did like Area 51.
That was cool. Yeah, I did like that one.
I did like that one.
But go ahead,
Go ahead,
Anthony.
Anthony.
Sorry.
What were you going to
Okay,
say?
so there's multiple issues right now with the Disney Marvel stuff. One of it's just pure volume.
Yes,
There's
I
too much
agree.
of it. When you have too much of something, it doesn't let anything have time to breathe. It becomes less special. It's kind of like when Ubisoft said they're taking a break from Assassin's Creed, even though it was a year, I think, that we didn't have an Assassin's Creed. They came back with Origins. And Origins felt special. I remember, and I played it recently this year, and it's still a great game. And but I recall people being like, "Oh, thank God, it's something different." The problem right now is that they want all this stuff to coincide inside the same universe, right? Like, be like, "Oh yeah, this is all one universe," but fail to understand that if you're trying to do different types of movies, that doesn't really work. Because then you have a comedy movie inside the same universe as this really depressing movie. And they don't know what they're doing there, I think. They lost all their big stars, some of which they made, some of which they brought on. They're working with a new cast of characters. And they don't own Spider-Man. And they're not bringing in X-Men yet, or Fantastic Four. And so they're working with the B-listers.
I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm going to leave everything alone, but we're not
No,
going to
I know what you're about to say, but it's they're not in the same sense as what you would want, and not for a brief moment either.
No, that's all coming. They had to build it. But, I would almost agree with you with, the change in tones of things between different stuff. But Ragnarok worked. And it was funny.
Ragnarok, so here's the other issue. They don't want to pull too much from comics, but at the same time they want to as well. What is it, Gore? The God Butcher?
Yeah, Christian Bale's character? Yeah.
He doesn't look anything like the character in the comic. Fine. But,
he looks,
the characterization
he looks
from
close
my
enough
understanding
without
is not
looking
the
like
same.
Voldemort, which I think is what they're trying to avoid.
Yeah, I was fine. I was fine with it, and he's creepy looking.
He's the best part of that movie, truly.
But, does he kill any gods?
Yes,
I'm
but
not
you
going to
don't-
spoil because
oh.
Ryan's so far behind, I don't want to
Right,
mess
but
anything
it's
up
just
for him.
that's a big portion of that character, and I don't know how you do that in one movie. Just kind of be and this is a thing that's happening now. And, that's the problem. We're starting to get into the point where it's they haven't had all this build-up, so they have to kind of introduce people.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
And,
Brian,
Thunderbolts is happening.
Oh, well, that.
Thunderbolts is happening. Thunderbolts, not even the same, that... Most of the Thunderbolts team are, leaders from the Thunderbolts over decades.
The team that
So you
they're
don't even
going
have,
for
a
the movie
Thunderbolt.
is, half the team does the same thing. They're all super soldiers. I'm not sure why Bucky is there, but, okay. I don't know.
But that's just it. Looking at that cast, I was like, huh. These have all been leaders at one point in time. They've never been in the same Thunderbolts together. And it's just very odd. But it's it feels like they're looking for scraps. And, so speaking of volume, they're running their VFX people, to the ground.
Yeah, that shows in the She-Hulk show, which I haven't seen. I've just seen clips of it running around.
It shows in everything. They just so you watched the updated version of the new Thor movie because apparently the one that was in theaters, they've changed something since.
Oh,
and it's just
yeah, I saw that.
The floating head, but
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not the only thing, and it's just they're not getting these movies done. I remember when Black Panther, they had to kind of almost rush Black Panther so he could have his movie before the big sort of movie. I don't remember which one
It was
was.
one of the
I think
Avengers,
that was after.
Or, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was with one of the Avengers, yeah. Cause his
I think
movie
it was
came after
before.
Civil
Yeah, I
War.
think it was towards Endgame. Yeah, so it's just And the VFX in that took a hit. And it's just like, you're running these people into the dirt. Horror stories keep pouring out. And it shows when people are working harder on one thing than another because you have so much. And it's just like, yeah, it's just kind of a mess. It's kind of like right now in the comics world, there's so many goddamn Spider-Man titles.
God, yeah.
They're letting someone finish up their previous Spider-Man title under the name Spider-Man. And they have the Amazing Spider-Man. And they have Spider-Punk. And they're soon to have Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And it's just like, you have too much shit going on. X-Men. Well, yeah, and Miles Morales is at least not Peter Parker.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, these other ones are like Peter Parker from different dimensions, but they all intertwine. Like, Miles is doing his own fucking thing. Same with Spider-Gwen. But it's just like, how do you... You're getting to the point where there's just too much shit compounding on itself. Like, what do you pull from to make Spider-Man? Like, the best stories? But the best stories work off of decades of lore. It's just a nightmare. They're running into the problem that DC has never overcome.
Yeah, and it's not going to get any better for DC with the Discovery purchase.
No, it's not. But it's just like, fucking... Like, so in the 90s, Spider-Man... The 90s into the 2000s, Spider-Man had like 4 different titles. But all 4... So it was weekly, which, wow. Well, how to rip people off. But every comic led into the next comic. So Amazing led into Sensational, led into Spider-Man, led into Web of. And it's just like... X-Men right now, X-Men has X-Force,
412
X-Men
titles. They have way too many.
Yeah,
Fuck
X-Men Red, X-Men Green, Hellfire Gala. Like, it's just so much shit.
Them. Like, if
they're
Wes Magneto's on the cover, I don't even fool with it. Like, so many.
Wes Magneto's on the cover. He's like, fuck this. No. Get your piece of shit out of here.
Yeah, it's too many. It's too. I see. You're right. It's a lot. It's a lot to keep track of.
But that's what's happening with their shit. Like,
yeah,
they have Daredevil coming out. They have She-Hulk. They just had Moon Knight. They just had Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
They had Thor. They just had Doctor Strange. What else is coming out this year?
This year,
Wakanda Forever is in November.
Yeah, that's the last one, right?
I think that's
for
the
this
last
year?
movie. Yeah, I don't think there's any other shows coming out this year after She-Hulk.
It's just so much shit.
Yeah.
It is a lot, and like Ryan, I know Ryan's a lot further behind than I am, but like I haven't watched Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, or She-Hulk. Like I haven't seen any of those yet.
Those all are good. I mean, I know people, whatever about She-Hulk. I think it's funny, but I like lawyer shows too. But it's more of a lawyer show, and she just happens to be She-Hulk, and they kind of play off of it like they do the She-Hulk comics, and I think it works. Like I like that show. But Moon Knight and what's the other one you said about? Miss Marvel. Yeah,
Miss Marvel.
You'll probably those are good.
Yeah, I'll get to them eventually. It's just it's hard because like Anthony said, it just feels like it's too much.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I'm a huge.
I don't even go to the theaters.
It's all necessary too. Right?
Yeah,
like,
you
if
have
I miss
to know
a couple
it.
issues of Spider-Man, and none of them are key issues, I'm not too worried about it. But if you miss, like, everything's a key issue, and if you don't know what key issue means, it means that something that changes the dynamics of the comic.
Yeah.
Whether it be lore or an introduction of a character, something important happens in that comic to make it so even if you skip everything in between key issues, that issue still gives you enough information to work on later on. The problem is, everything that Disney does with the MCU is important because it's all supposed to lead into something bigger.
Yep.
All the time.
So you have to
what
watch
do you
all
cut
of
off?
it. Yeah. Yep.
And it's just like, nobody has the time. I've seen people that are like, I'm doing an MCU rewatch. I'm like, oh my god.
How the hell do you have that much time?
Right.
To Agent Carter. Like, they're including Agent Carter and stuff. And I'm like, oh my fucking god, that's so much time to be doing anything else. And I get it. They're big fans. I'm not criticizing the content. It's just like, that's so much. Like, I could read those stories faster than I could watch them. And I don't know. It's just a very weird thing. And this is not as big of an issue anymore, I don't think. But maybe it is, because I've kind of just dropped off those movies. I had zero interest. But I noticed it when it happened in Avengers, and it just kind of continued to go. everybody's quippy. That's a Joss Whedon thing they haven't been able to get rid of, but everybody's quippy or funny in their own way. And that's not how it works. And it's like Spider-Man was quippy.
Yeah.
And I get it, like, you know, Iron Man was played by Robert Downey Jr. He really nails the character and redefined it.
Dude,
but like
the
everybody needs a joke. Thor needs a joke. Thor in the comics
did not have
so...
jokes. Thor did not have jokes in the first movie, like maybe one or two. Here, he's entirely a comedic punchline in this fourth movie.
And if you read the current comics, even though I dislike Donny Cates' writing, the character's always serious.
Yeah.
Funny things may happen. Okay, just now that you said you don't like Donny Cates, I have to go into it. For people that don't know, Donny Cates, everything he writes is like an episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Yep.
You'll read one arc, and then some bullshit power will come in at the end and save the fucking day, and then we move on to the next story. Everything Donny Cates writes is the same exact thing. Crossover, which was he wrote himself into as like the god power that comes in and bullshit happens at the end, and it's him. He's the fucking bullshit that happens at the end. Anyways, Thor, he writes Thor in such a way where, like, Thor is not funny. Funny things may happen to Thor and around Thor, and Thor might understand that it's funny, but for the most part, Thor is not comedic. The most comedic thing he does is writes Tony Stark's phone number on the hammer that he throws to Earth. That's it. And, like, everybody needs that. It's like they're fighting for punchlines. And it's like, I don't understand that. And it works when you're, like, doing a buddy cop thing, you know, like the Hulk and Thor.
Yeah.
But, like,
Falcon
when
and
it's
Winter
just
Soldier,
kind of Thor.
The quippy stuff worked in that because it was like a buddy cop show, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
But, like, every time anybody's in something, it's all quippy. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy, I forgive a bit more because the whole thing's kind of these are the losers.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? But it's just like everybody's that.
Yep.
The Avengers were that, like, towards the end. It's just like, I don't understand why they're so afraid to let people just kind of be serious. But again, it goes back to that tonal thing that I just don't think they understand. And it's kind of a nightmare, and I just, like, I don't know. It's weird. I feel the same way about it as I do comic books. Sometimes you just get a bad run. Maybe we'll get out of it. But, like, you know, been waiting for Blade. Is Blade going to be serious or Blade going to be a big joke? Because I don't feel like it'll thread the needle well. But whatever.
Anyway.
It's a lot. Yeah.
That's it for what I've got. Unless anybody has anything else. If you want to shoot us an email, it's podcast@ztgd.com. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it's @N4G Podcast. You can also follow me at ZTGD, Terrence at Lord Magnus, and Ryan at Wombat RP. Anthony, he's not on Twitter. He's sane. You can check out Phoenix Down, Sinking City. The episode is done, but I guess Matt's audio didn't get uploaded. So.
Yeah, something goofy happened, and he said that he uploaded it and he showed us a screenshot, but I think he found out that it, for some reason, paused the upload by itself. So Drew's gonna get that done. I don't know where that puts us at for this week. So I don't know.
Either. So if he gets the episode to me tomorrow or whenever, we'll just put it up. If not, it'll just go up on Friday like everything else.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I don't know if we're taking off this week because it'll be weird for people to catch up that are trying to play along. I don't know at all. Drew's not here. Drew's not here, man.
No, of course he's not. You know, that's Drew's MO. So. But anyway, that's it for the show this week. Unless anybody has anything else, we'll get out of here. Peace, bitches.
Alrighty. And it goes something like this.
Epic fail. Welcome to the N4G Podcast.
This is going to be a very interesting episode.
Get this time.
Greetings, programs.
I got lost trying to find my way to the secret underground N4G Radio lair.
The Wombat.
I've always lived being angry.
Killer Wolverine. Play games, not consoles. No fanboys allowed.
And then I killed the dragon. 8.0.